in 2016, I was with one of the male riders on the team, and he just like outright said how much he was making from Nautique, and it was over 6 times the amount that I was making from the company.
On today's episode of the Grad Matters podcast, we welcome on a very special guest, none other than Meagan Ethell. For the past decade plus, Meagan has been killing it on the women's side of the sport, both boat and cable side of things, contest-wise. On the boat side of things, she's been the most dominant rider over the past 10 years, hands down. We're starting off with her early career where she moved down to Florida at 11 years old by herself pretty much, so it's a pretty wild journey how she got into wakeboarding. She fell in love with it right away as she was a kid and quickly moved down here to Florida to continue to chase that dream. And she's been down here ever since. Meagan rides for some of the biggest names in the sport, and we talk with her about how some of those sponsorships came to be, what it was like switching from Nautique to MasterCraft, a pretty interesting story there about why that went down. We're also talking about the Let Her Rip event she does with MasterCraft every summer to help get more girls into wakeboarding and out on the water. We also dive into the competitive side of things with Meagan, her mindset going into contests, how that's shifted over the years, kind of where she feels she's at in her career right now and the future and what that looks like. We're also diving into equal pay and Meagan's views on a lot of that stuff and kind of the women's side of the sport and the men's side of the sport. She's got a very unique perspective on this, being married to Guenther Oka. I guess Meagan Oka now, but yeah, she has a unique perspective on that because she's seen both sides of pretty much every contest on the cable side of things, the boat side of things. It was a great chat with Meagan. I really enjoyed having her on. It felt like a long time coming, so I'm super stoked we could finally sit down and make it happen. She did bring a couple good gifts, so be sure to tune in to see what that was. Without further ado, let's get into this episode of the Grad Matters podcast with Meagan Ethell.
I approve waterboarding. They're talking about wakeboarding. The thing about wakeboarding, every trick is an invert.
Backside,
air railing.
a new dimension.
All right, we're back. Another episode of the Grad Matters podcast. Today we welcome on a very special guest, Meagan Ethell. Meagan Oka. How's it going?
I'm doing great, Hunter. I'm so excited that I finally made it here.
I'm excited that you finally made it here as well. It took you marrying Guenther to come on the podcast. Is that right?
I don't know. I mean, definitely took some time.
It did.
Maybe me becoming an Oka gave me some extra courage.
Yeah. Or maybe you realizing the episode would come out on April Fool's Day. That also maybe played a factor in.
Yeah, I mean, I think people be surprised, so we shall see.
Love it. I think before we even get into this, we talk about what's on your head right now.
Yeah, so this is a Brimdana Red Bull hat. Shout out to Cooper Scarborough. This is his company. He just started it recently, and I had him make me a custom hat, and I'm loving it. It's really fitting the vibe.
Yeah, absolutely. Check out, I'll put on the screen, but follow Brimdana at Brimdana.
Yeah.
Super comfy. I still got to get one because he lost a bet with me. I don't know if I told you this. He owes me one. I don't even have to buy one. He owes me one. I'll pay for one. But I bet him that he was on the Slingshot team page, and he said he wasn't.
Oh.
And he is. So congrats.
Oh,
Cooper.
well,
there you go.
It almost benefited him more in that bet.
Yeah, right? That's what, yeah, kind of. He was almost disappointed, and I was like, no, that's a good thing. So
yeah, so shop local and support Brimdana.
yeah, if people are doing stuff in the wakeboard world, you got to, throw some money at it. So, all right.
Definitely.
So before we get into your early career and getting into wakeboarding and all that stuff, I want to talk about the Clear Lake Rail Park because it's making a little comeback. I feel like Guenther and you and Rivers and been putting some effort into it. And I just kind of want you to talk about riding that park because jet ski rails are an OG thing of the days before. And yeah, just kind of talk about your experience with Guenther and Rivers and riding that stuff.
Guenther has definitely been the driving force behind the rail park. I mean, really, it is all him. He even has a little storage area behind the rails that he keeps all his leftover wood and whatnot. But we have a fun little project in the works, so we have been trying to prep for it in a way where we are getting ready by getting comfy with some of the uncomfortable stuff. So we have been helping kind of rebuild the rails, come up with a few different ideas, and session them on the jet ski. And hitting rails, I mean, it's something that I've been used to before because I grew up hitting rails on a jet ski. But it was fun to see Rivers get out there and hit rails for the
Little
first
cable
time.
park
Yeah,
drama, hitting
it's
the
a different
jet
feeling.
ski rails. So you tease project. So is there's something,
Yeah.
anything else you can say about that, or is that it? We'll leave it at that.
We are doing a friend group project, and I guess it will be happening right around the time that this podcast gets
Like a
released.
Video project?
Somewhat. You'll just have to see.
Interesting. Okay,
You'll
yeah, let's
see.
not say any more. Let's just leave it for the people to
Yeah.
find out. Okay, I like that.
Yeah.
Another one, because Moomba Masters, as at the time of recording this, is happening this weekend, basically right now. You didn't go. So what's the decision behind not going or going?
So there were a few decisions. I would say the first was, figuring out my priorities for the year. And, I've done so many contests in my career. And this year I just wanted to change up the vibe a bit and focus on doing something else. So this project that we have coming up, we're putting more emphasis on that. So I wanted to spend a bit more time riding cable and soon winching and getting into that. So,
She's loyal to the rails, people, is
Yeah.
what I'm hearing.
Yeah, definitely.
She says, screw the 24-hour plane ride to Australia. I'm going to hit some rails.
Yeah, and then also, I know you would love that. That is something you would be all about. In January, I got pretty sick and I got pneumonia, so that pretty much just took me out. I mean, it kind of felt like I was going through an injury. I only just got back on the water the end of February because I was dealing with some rib issues. So that was also another reason I just would not have been ready to get over there.
Yeah, so I guess ideally before like a contest like Moomba Masters, it's a big contest. How much would you want to ride specifically thinking about that contest beforehand? Like, are we talking a month? Are we talking 6 weeks? Like, because obviously you're off the water for a long time, so.
Definitely. So with Moomba, because it's the first event, I'm always wanting to get a little bit more of a head start. So I will probably start riding in January and just get back into it slowly and kind of build my progression with that. But once you get into the flow of it all and you get back to where you were riding, then it's a lot easier to just hop back in. Like after Moomba, getting ready for Masters is not as big of a process.
Yeah, it's not as intensive because you're back already. I mean, for me, like the wakeboard muscles are a huge thing. If you take time off of wakeboarding, and boat is even more aggressive than cable, I would imagine, because the pull is so much lower. But yeah, if you don't have the muscles, like you feel like you can't do tricks that you've done your whole life, for me at least.
Yeah. I mean, getting back into it, I've definitely been a bit sore. And I took a boat set the other day, and I was just out of breath. It was intense.
Yeah, gassed. Okay, well, I guess even before we get in the early days, you talk about riding behind the boat. What are you riding behind these days? Because the new X-Star just came out, but it's also a massive boat. So, like, what are you riding?
So currently I have a MasterCraft X-Star S. That is the boat that I have. I do not have the new X-Star 23, and we'll see if I get it. It just kind of depends on how they decide to distribute the boats.
Yeah. They're a hot commodity is what I
They
heard.
are.
So it might be tough to get your hands on
I
one
know.
if somebody's trying to buy one, So, yeah. Okay, so X-Star S from before. Favorite grab. We got to do favorite grab.
I know. I've been putting a lot of thought into it, and I have 2 favorite grabs.
Okay.
I love a melon and a stale.
Okay.
I love how you can put a lot of emphasis on each one, but you're poking out your front leg on a melon, and then you're poking out your back leg on a sail.
Same spot of the board, though.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, it's a really good feeling when you get those ones.
Not a lot of melons, actually.
Really?
Yeah, or stales, I don't think.
Huh. That surprises me.
I suck at melons. So.
Really?
Yeah. I just can't poke it. I can get the grab, but I can't do like a front foot poked out type.
Wait, I have a bonus
Situation.
grab I want to throw in there.
3 grabs. What do you got?
I mean, take a guess.
You're going to say switch method?
No. Regular method, though.
Regular method.
Method is one of those tricks that I find it's not easy to do all the time. It takes I mean, sometimes it takes me a few tries to get like a really good method. And then when you do, it's so gratifying. It's like, oh, yeah, I just got a good method.
Yeah.
So that's a bonus.
It's like a 2-part maneuver because you grab melon and then you
like
gotta,
pull it over.
Yeah. Yeah, it's a
and
tough
then
one to make
hold
look
it.
good. That is for sure on a wakeboard, I think, because you got the rope getting in the way.
Yeah,
Especially switch method. Those are real tough.
I know. I knew you were going to bring that up too.
Switch method?
Yeah.
I feel like Guenther had, or at least posted a video a while back where he did both.
Yeah, I mean, Guenther can do a lot of cool stuff.
He put an idea in his head. He'll just like start going.
I mean, you watched that happen the other day at the cable.
Sure did. Yeah, back mob to 50-50.
Well, Trent Stuckey inspiration.
I took a video of it, so I'll put the video in. Was it as good as Trent Stuckey's? I'm not gonna lie, maybe not, but damn, it was close. Like,
yeah.
I guess Trent's was filmed on an actual camera, and mine was a shitty iPhone clip. So, but yeah, very impressive.
But got it first tee though.
First
So that was,
tee, it was insane.
That was interesting.
Yeah, I wonder if Trent's did his first tee. Probably not.
Actually,
probably did. He probably did it to 5 too, and just didn't post it yet.
Yeah.
All right, wake pants. Your favorite question? Yes or no? What do you think about wake pants?
I say yes to wake pants. I'm all about the look good, feel good, ride good.
Okay.
You know, when you have a great kit on, you're going to put a little extra pepper on your tricks and try to tease them out a bit more. So I want to say yes. Personally, I have never ridden with a pair. And, you know, I asked Rivers the other day, I said, hey, I think I'm going to ride with wake pants. And she gave me a hard no.
Really? She wears them though.
Maybe because I'm not cool enough. Maybe I'm too old.
You're trying to jock her style.
Maybe. No, she is.
She's trying to make a name for herself out here. Meagan Ethell jocking her wake pants style. Can't be having that.
I think I might get a pair though and start rocking them.
Where are you shopping? Are you going to Goodwill? Are you going to
know.
Salvation Army?
I mean, you probably have some recommendations. So what do you think?
I don't really wear them either, but my personal move is you got to go to the Goodwill or the thrift store.
I was
That's
actually
where you
at a
find
thrift store the other day, and I was looking for a pair. Did not find any.
See, that's fine, though. That means you could have forced it. You could have tried to buy a pair that wasn't it, and that's how you know.
Put some effort into it, though.
Where's Guenther get his? His don't seem like a Goodwill find. His seem like a...
His are, I believe, all O'Neill. He's just kitted head to toe. Well, not head, but shoulders to toe in O'Neill.
Okay.
Yeah.
Shoulders to toes. Okay. All right. I like that. Let's back it up. Early days. You're from the Midwest.
I am.
So that's of course, probably why you're such a good wakeboarder. All the good wakeboarders come from either Australia, the Midwest, or Canada.
Or
those are just
Italy.
facts. Oh, Italy.
Yeah.
True, Italy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
A
Okay.
lot of females.
So where are you from in Illinois, and kind of run through just like growing up, maybe pre-wakeboarding and then getting into wakeboarding?
Yeah, definitely. So I grew up an hour southwest of Chicago in this town called Shanahan, and Jamie Lupina touched on this a bit in her podcast, but we grew up in neighboring towns, which is just such a crazy small world scenario, because I never knew her until she moved to Florida, and we met through wakeboarding. But I actually had wakeboarded on the lake in her backyard before, which is wild. So that's where I grew up, and then we had a lake spot in this town in Michigan called Waterville, and it was on Lake Pawpaw Lake.
Really? You had one on Pawpaw Lake?
Wait, you know where that is?
Of course.
Yeah, so pretty much from where I lived, you would follow the perimeter of Lake Michigan, and it was a 2-hour drive there, and we spent most of the summers there. My extended family would come up, and that's where a lot of my early memories on the lake were at Pawpaw.
Dang, I didn't know that.
That's so funny. Oh my gosh. So my dad owned a Baja, which was a 21-foot boat with an outboard engine. And we would go tubing, did all the things. When I was 6 years old, I learned how to water ski. And it was funny because my dad would just drive circles around the lake. And this lake was big. It was a 900-acre lake.
You got the acreage down.
Yeah.
Damn.
I did my research. I wanted to come prepared.
Yeah, I like it.
I would just hold on, and he would do laps. And I would just ride in the middle. I just loved it.
Not doing anything, just standing behind the boat,
Yeah.
kind of carving back and forth.
I mean, I also grew up doing gymnastics as well. That, I mean, I would say, like, reflects a lot in wakeboarding for me. But, you know, had the guns at a young age.
Okay.
So I was able to hold on for laps, and then I learned how to wakeboard in 2005.
And how old were you at this point?
I was 8 years old.
8 years old, okay.
So my uncle brought a wakeboard to our condo there, and I remember seeing it, and then one day I asked my dad if I could try it. And then I was a little hesitant. I'm like, oh, actually, I don't think I want to. And then he was like, come on, like, let's get out there. It'll be fun. And I was like, okay. I was kind of down for anything. And he did the classic push test.
To see which foot forward you were?
Yeah. And I was right. I stepped with my right foot. And then we went out that same day. I got it my first try, and I was left foot forward.
Okay.
Regular. So the push test, I don't think it works. And this board was a Hyperlight, like a huge men's board. I was practically doing the splits on this thing. It was wild. So from there, my dad, I don't even know how he found the borderline, but that's where I went and got lessons. It's Bill Boston's wakeboard school. So Bill Boston was my first ever coach. It was the borderline is on Sister Lakes. It's like a chain of lakes.
Oh, yeah.
Only 15 minutes from Pawpaw Lake, which is just crazy.
I think they're still in business, right? Borderline?
They are.
Okay,
they are. I
Cool.
actually saw Bill at the LF Expo
Sick.
back in August. So
That's cool.
It was great. It's always great to see him. And so, yeah, I took lessons throughout the summer. And so then that following summer, my dad swapped out the Baja for a Nautique 210.
That's a massive upgrade.
That's a big upgrade.
That's a huge upgrade.
Yeah.
Especially back then, because the 210s were killer.
Yeah, and I don't remember why. I think Bill had told him that my future in wakeboarding was looking promising, and my dad was just on board and bought the boat, which was amazing, and had the tower on it, and that made a huge difference for us. And yeah, that was a big step up for the Ethell family.
Yeah, huge. Okay, so you have a sister, right?
I have 2 younger sisters.
Okay, so you're getting into wakeboarding. What's like the family dynamic look like? Are they also getting into wakeboarding? I guess I don't know their ages, but like, are they?
Yes.
Is it like a family thing, or is it just like a Meagan Ethell? She's going to be the next big thing.
So my sisters were all within 3 years. So I'm 28 right now. My youngest sister is 25, and we were all really close growing up, and they all learned how to wakeboard as well, which was really fun. I mean, it was a big family activity for us. We would go out all the time. I mean, we spent our summers at the lake. And, yeah, they wakeboarded too, but I was always pretty fearless when I was young, and I was down to just try everything. And I think I was already doing, like, one-wake jumps and 180s, especially going into that following summer. So I think it looked more promising for me, and then that was kind of, like, the path that I took.
Yeah.
So at the end of 2006, in the summer, my dad and I went to Orlando for, I want to say it was nationals. Yeah, it was kind of crazy. That same trip, I met Dallas, who became such a big idol for me. I mean, we got a photo, and I was just so excited about that photo. And then I also met Mike Ferraro that same exact trip. And Ryan Jones, too, I believe. Do you know who Ryan is? Yes. So, and I guess they agreed to start coaching me.
I mean, you're so young, you probably don't even really know what's going on. Yeah.
It's hard to remember all the details because of how young I was and how long ago that was, but that's what I recollect from it. And then that same trip was also the first time I rode at OWC. And Clay Fletcher was my the person who like took me out and rode doubles with me for the first time on the beginner side.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Interesting. So you went to Florida pretty quick after you learned how to wakeboard. Like
it was like a year and some change later.
Yeah, that's pretty wild because I feel like in the Midwest it'd be like summers and summers of like, okay, we're getting better each summer, and then okay, now we're gonna take it seriously.
Yeah.
But like going right down to Orlando?
I mean, I immediately loved wakeboarding, and I think my dad was also very excited about it too, and he was just down to make it happen.
Yeah, that's cool. Yeah, you kind of saw it. And do you remember the first trick you landed ever, and how old you were?
What do you mean trick?
Behind the boat.
I mean, it was probably like a one wake jump.
The one I have is a 180, and you were 9 years old, apparently.
Where did you get that information?
The internet. I
I
got my sources.
I have to show you this one video there. So I think when I was 9, we made a video at the borderline, and it was like a sponsor me tape.
I mean, those are a thing back then.
But we sent it to Liquid Force because my first wakeboard, once I kind of graduated past that big hyperlight board, we got a 116 Nemesis Liquid Force. So
116.
it was. I still have it.
Really?
Yeah, it's in my garage.
That's sick.
Yeah, just for the
You
moms.
should take it out for a set.
I should probably break on the first.
Yeah, true.
But yeah, we sent it to Liquid Force, and they were like, "Our team's filled up right now, but thank you for sending this over. We'll like try to keep an eye out."
Keep an eye out for it. Our team's filled up.
It was just so funny, but the video is really cute, and I love that I have that to look back on.
That's awesome. Is that on YouTube anywhere, or you just?
I have it on my phone.
Okay. Yeah. Send it to me.
Yeah,
I can put some of that in.
It's so good.
All right. So you went to Orlando. Like, I guess, like, what's the next progression? Because obviously, if you're getting coached by Mike, or I would imagine that happened shortly after you're getting coached by Mike, you're probably coming down here more. Like, what's the next several years of your life looking like before you do end up moving down here?
So that next summer, when I was 10 years old, my dad and my 2 sisters, we came to Florida for the entire summer. So my dad owned his own business, so he had the flexibility to do that. And throughout that whole summer, I was taking trampoline lessons with Ryan Jones, and then doing on-water lessons with Mike, and then throughout the rest of the day, pretty much riding the cable at OWC all day.
Dang.
So, and then that winter, I started making trips down to Orlando to wakeboard more and more. And I think at that point, I was making a lot of progression.
Yeah.
I mean, I think I had landed my first invert. I don't know. I mean, it's hard to remember exactly what I was doing at 10. And then the following spring in 2008, when I was 11 years old, we took a trip to Florida, and I remember my dad telling me that I was moving to Orlando.
At 11?
At 11.
I did not know it was that young.
Really?
No.
Yeah. So I kind of just accepted it without hesitation because I was just like, I mean, being the oldest, I was so independent, and I was never like afraid to take a chance. So I was excited, and I moved to Orlando. I moved in with Renee Hoffman. He was the owner of OWC at the time, and I lived with him for about like a month or 2. And I finished the school year there, and I think it made sense because he was going to OWC every day.
So you just hop in the car?
I guess so. No, that's so funny, right? I don't, like, the decisions, like, that my dad made, for me, it's just, like, wild to think about.
To me, that's wild to hear.
I know. Well, thinking about when I have kids one day, to let them go down to Florida, or not Florida, sorry, to move out of the house when they're, like, 10 years old, 11. I mean, they're still babies at that point. Yeah. But yeah, I moved down to Florida, and then I was training with Mike on the regular. I was riding cable. And then that summer, summer of 2008, my dad and my sisters came back down to Florida, and then I think we rented the bottom floor of this British family's house that they were in the wakeboarding community. And then that following school year, I moved in with them. And at the time, I was wakeboarding a lot with Darren Shapiro because they lived pretty close by to him. So I would go to Darren's all the time, hang out, do like chores and trade for sets, I'm pretty sure. And I just spent a lot of time there because Darren was also really close with Mike because I believe that Mike coached him. So they had a close relationship, and it was just an easy way for me to get out on the water. And during that same time, I was staying at the projects on the weekends here and there and learning how to hit rails behind the jet ski.
At 11, 12, 13 years old?
Yes. Yeah, I was probably 12, 13 at the time.
Damn.
Yeah.
I had no idea it was all this young. I had assumed it was like 14, 15, 16 maybe you moved down here.
No.
That's crazy.
I mean, I built those fundamentals at such a young age, and I really feel like they played a huge role in my career.
Yeah, absolutely.
Mm-hmm.
You got a lot of time on board early.
Yes.
Especially rails, jet skis, boats, cable. Like, you were doing it all. It wasn't just one thing, which is...
And I really feel like if I didn't move down to Florida super young, I mean, who knows if I would have had the success that I've had in the sport.
Yeah.
To just constantly be putting that time in.
That's bonkers.
Yeah.
Okay, so let's maybe like talk about sponsors, because you're getting 11, 12, 13 years old. You're here in Florida pretty much full-time. There's got to be some chatter, I would imagine, of like...
Yes. So at the time, because I was riding with Mike, he worked for Ronix, and it was like the very early stages of Ronix.
Yeah.
So he was giving me wakeboards, and I was riding the Ronix Crush for a few years.
Crush with a K, I believe.
Yeah, it is.
Yeah.
It is. But at the time, I mean, there really weren't many sponsors in the talks yet because I was still so young. And also, my dad was really strict about me getting sponsors. I was not allowed to say that or like put a sticker on my board unless I had a contract and was getting paid by a company.
I'm not gonna lie, Papa Ethel had a good mindset there. Yeah, that's a really good mindset.
He looked out for me in that way, and it set me up for success, really, because I held myself to the standard the rest of my career. You know, I wasn't just going to take product from a company and call them my sponsor.
Yeah, and I want to get into that a little bit later, too, because I think
For
that's a fascinating thing of how you've approached that in your career. So
okay. But then, I was riding with Darren a lot, and then that summer, I think I went back to Chicago for a bit, and I was riding on the Kankakee River, which is, like, really close to Shanahan, where I grew up. And then that summer, my dad had asked me if there was a place that I could stay or if I knew anybody, because I think where I was currently staying just wasn't working out. And I went to normal school in Florida, so I made a lot of friends there. In particular, Jake Palat. I think Jake also touched on this in his podcast as well. But, yeah, I called Jake, and I asked if I could move in, which is so funny to think about. And he's like, yeah, I need to talk to my parents.
just two kids talking to each other. Hey, can I come live with you?
Yeah, so... our parents talked on the phone, and it was decided that I was going to move in with them. And then, I lived on Lake Whippoorwill starting 8th grade, so I was 13 at the time. And then that same year, I would go and stay with Dallas here and there as well and spend weekends at her house because she was coached by Mike, they were talking a lot as well. Yeah. So that was really helpful for me. And, that was really the start of it all. And then when I was a freshman in high school, that is when my whole entire family moved to Florida.
Fascinating.
Yeah.
You had already I feel like you were like settled at that point. You're like, I mean, you've been there for 3 years at that point. Like, you got it going on. I don't need fam. Like, I just called Jake. I'm going to live at his place. Like, we're chilling. I don't need you guys.
Yeah, the Palats were truly just so amazing to live with, and I'm still really close with them. They're just really good family friends of mine, and I'm really grateful for them. But when I turned, when I was a freshman in high school, that following year, let's see. Oh, wait. No, let me backtrack a little bit. Yeah, when I was living with them, I was 13 at the time. Turning 14, yeah. And then I think I competed in some pro events that year. And I made like one podium, but it just wasn't really working out for me yet. So I think I got second place at weight games that year.
Okay.
And then when I was in 8th grade, when I was 14, I just did not compete in any contest that year at all. I fully just focused on wakeboarding and trying to prepare myself for becoming pro.
Yeah.
So I was wakeboarding a lot. I also had to learn how to hit the transfer box because, I mean, you've seen that thing. It's pretty gnarly.
I've actually hit it because it's at the quarry in Illinois. I think they made a little modifications to it, but
okay, made it a little safer.
I think they did something to it, but yeah.
So the first time I hit a transfer was, I think I was at TSR in Texas, and they had a transfer there, and that's where I learned. And then I remember Tara Megasich and we took a trip down to Rixon to hit the transfer there, and then I would go out to Glenn Fletcher's, hit the transfer there as well, because hitting the transfer, I mean, it was a big part of the tour. You had to be able to hit it. I mean, there was no avoiding it. So, yeah, when my family moved down to Florida when I was 14, going into me being 15, that was the first year I turned pro in 2012.
Is that the Welcome to the Liquid Force team edit video?
Yes.
Okay, that's that one.
There's a lot that happened that year.
Let's get into it. What happened?
Yeah, so I had my first pro win, which I believe was weight games. That was super exciting. Right after weight games, or maybe like during the contest, I also got sponsored by Performance. They were my first sponsor, my first sticker on my board. So that was very exciting. Bill has always just been so supportive and amazing. Yeah, definitely grateful for everything he's done for me over the years. And then I got sponsored by Nautique after I won my first Masters as well.
So what's that looking like? Like, because your dad said he was strict on, like, the contract type situation. So Liquid Force, I would imagine, is, like, you're on the team, you're getting paid.
Yes.
Same with Nautique, or, like, is it the next step is you're going to get paid, but you're on the team now? I think
No,
it's a little different.
So with Performance, it was obviously, like, a different situation because Bill has supported the industry for so long, and that was always
and
different.
It's a shop. It's not like a shop's going to pay a bunch of people a bunch of money. Like, that's
exactly. And, you know, he's given back to me. I've given back to him. It's been great.
Helps with connections, gear. Like, it's more than, like, a paycheck. So, yeah,
exactly.
That makes sense.
So when I got sponsored by Nautique, I was getting paid by them.
So you went from zero to, like,
yes,
like no money to getting money in 1 year pretty quickly.
Mm-hmm. I did. So that was that was really cool. I was definitely over the moon. You're like, what even is this?
I mean, so you're 14, 15 years old at this point. You can't drive. You don't have a car.
I was 15 at the time.
What are you spending your money on? I mean, are you paying
nothing?
Right now?
Nothing.
It's just going into a 401k at 15 years old or what?
I don't know. I mean, I think it was getting saved.
Yeah.
I probably spent it on like gas money for the boat and maybe like traveling. I don't remember. But during the first half of the season, I was on a Ronix board. And then during the second half of that season, I was on a Liquid Force board. So during the Pro Tour stop in Seattle, I went to Radar Lake and hung out with Paul. And, you know, they were really just wanting to get me on board. That same trip, I went out to lunch with Tony Finn and Aaron Grace. And, you know, we were just like in between trying to figure out what we were going to do for me. And we ended up deciding Liquid Force, obviously. Ronix, I mean, because it was so early on with Ronix, they didn't do contracts. I still don't know if they do contracts. So it was uncertain just what the future would have looked like with them.
Yeah.
And that was a big deciding factor. And Liquid Force was able to offer me more. And they had been established for so long at that point. And it was hard because I felt like I was a part of the Ronix family because of Mike. And I had just built such a good relationship with everybody there. But making that switch over to Liquid Force was amazing. I mean, just the past, I've been with them now for 13 years. And we've made some memories. I mean, everybody there is just, they're the best. I really just love that team so much. And yeah, it definitely really feels like a family with Liquid Force. But yeah, I got signed by Liquid Force that year. And I won one Pro Tour event that year, my one and only.
Ever. Well, it didn't go on much longer.
That was my only opportunity. And then that year I also won like the Queen of Wake.
Yeah.
I think it was still called Queen of Wake at the time. And then at the end of November of 2012, I tore my ACL and meniscus doing a chromo off the kicker at OWC.
Oh, which kicker do you remember? Was it?
It was the knee breaker.
It was the knee breaker.
It broke my knee.
I'm glad that thing's gone. Maybe it's at the beginner side, but that thing needed to be gone.
Yeah, it took me out. Yeah, that was tough. I just came down straight and hyperextended my knee and then was fully out for all of 2013.
Yeah. I was looking at like your stats, and 2013 was the only year since you started that you had zero.
Anything happening.
It was just missed a whole year due to knee injury. So.
And it was fun too because I spent that year just being a normal teenager, hanging out with my friends. It was a summer that I just got to be home and
I guess
be
looking
normal.
back, do you think like that's almost a blessing in disguise in a sense, because I know there's no way to say if you'd gotten super burnt out or whatever, but having that year of like, okay, I'm going to hang out with friends and be just not a pro wakeboarder still a pro wakeboarder, but I'm not going to do all these other things that I would normally have to do without this injury.
Definitely. I mean, at the time I didn't realize that it was a blessing in disguise.
Yeah.
But I mean, as the years have gone on, I've just taken on like more and more obligations to where my summers are just so stacked now. And I definitely took for granted those younger years when I had a lot more time at home and I could just wakeboard the entire summer. I mean, that was just so fun for me.
Yeah.
When the water was warm and those glassy days on the lake. And the only thing I had to worry about were contests at the time.
That's it.
Yeah, that was it.
Just winning contests.
Yeah. So then in 2013, I got surgery on my knee. And I really wanted to get sponsored by Red Bull. I was about to turn 16, and I remember my dad telling me that he just doesn't think Red Bull is going to happen for me. It's just not going to work out. And I was just like so bummed because, I mean, they're everybody's dream being sponsored by Red Bull. And then on my birthday, I opened up this package and pulled out Red Bull hats and stickers. And then it hit me. And I was getting sponsored by Red Bull. And they signed me too while I was injured and very early on in my career, which was wild.
Wow.
Yeah.
And that's how they did it? They sent you stuff?
Yeah, my dad kind of did like the surprise for me.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Man, if that was today, that would have been a sick like reel on Instagram.
I know. I know.
Like I remember they surprised Grace, snowboarder, with like a helmet on the hill, and like that's just such a cool moment.
I know, right? I mean, times have definitely changed on the gram.
Yeah, but it's almost kind of cool you opened it in your own house and like it was just
exactly
that moment.
I mean, it's a moment I will never forget. Just a dream came true, and it was amazing. But yeah, that whole year I was out of commission, and then I was doing my PT with Justin Cobb, who also owns ND Wellness now. So I've known him since I was 16. So he's the man. Shout out, Justin.
Way back.
Yeah.
All right, 16. So I guess the road to recovery, you're wearing a knee brace. I kind of want to get into the knee brace thing actually because you don't wear one anymore, right?
Mm-hmm.
And what was like the mindset of coming back from injury? I'm assuming you wore the brace, and I guess the mindset of how long you wore it for and the decision to not wear it anymore. I think that's like an interesting thing.
Yeah, it's funny because I feel like you still see a lot of riders who had knee surgery so long ago still relying on their knee braces. And I mean, I just wore it probably like the first 2 years of each of my knee surgeries until I felt like my knees were strong enough, and I didn't mentally need to rely on it for me to continue to push it. Doing tricks without hesitation when I'm not wearing it. So I would say I just really wanted to make sure my legs were strong, and I did work really hard in physical therapy, and I never really had issues. I mean, knock on wood, always do that. But yeah, I haven't really had any issues with my knees. So I just made sure they were strong, and mentally when I felt like I didn't need it, I would ditch it. And it's just crazy when you take off the knee brace, how much more you can maneuver on your board.
Oh, you can poke and tweak grabs way
Yeah.
better, I can imagine. That first setback, though, without a knee brace, both times, is there something in the back of your head where it's like, this first set, like I'm a little bit worried? Or are you to the point where you're like, I feel my knee's good. I'm not like double taking it. I'm not thinking about it.
I think those first sets without a knee brace, I am not like sending all my home
I would imagine
tricks.
you take it easy.
I'm probably just doing a cruisy ride because
Yeah.
it does feel, when you take off a knee brace, it does feel a little naked. You're like, oh, I'm missing something. And then you kind of just get used to it. And I think I would also do a lot of those sets on the cable where I'm just like hitting rails and it's very mellow.
Yeah.
And then kind of just build it up from there. And also when you do remove the knee brace too, your muscles get sore because it kind of like works different muscles because your leg is able to move in different ways. Whereas the knee brace like restricts certain movements.
Interesting. Okay.
Yeah.
I was just curious on that because I feel like, I see other riders who still like Guenther Daft is one that comes to mind. He still rocks both knee braces, and it's just interesting to see people's takes on it, whether, you go with the brace or when you ditch it. And so I got another question though. So you're injured, you get Red Bull, you're on Liquid Force, Nautique. Those are, three of the biggest brands in the industry, right? Like obviously Red Bull's not a wakeboard brand, but they're involved in the industry and they're huge. Did you ever feel like pressure on yourself at any point during this younger phase of your career where people are looking at you being like, you're going to be the next one. Like you're the next great one. You are the next Dallas Friday. You're the next, this name. Did you ever feel that in the moment or looking back on it? Did you ever feel that?
I didn't feel that way externally from other companies or like from the companies that were sponsoring me at the time. I put that pressure on myself, especially after I came back in 2014 and I had an amazing season that year. That was also the same year that I won my first Wakeboarding Magazine Rider of the Year. And after that, I really felt like I had to just continue on and keep building on what I was doing.
Okay. So to me, that's almost like when you're getting so good, like the task becomes harder to achieve because in 2012, you had, 5 wins or something, and then a bunch of other second places. And then 2013, obviously out. 2014 had a good season. So like, are you feeling in your head that if you don't win, it's a failure, like every single time?
100%.
So I guess how do you navigate that? Because that's, if you lose, then like your week's shot or your day's shot. Like
I know. So looking back, I was so hard on myself. Just failure wasn't an option for me. I wanted to hold that top spot so bad. And yeah, like you said, I would think about if I did bad in a contest, I would think about that for like days on end. But putting that in a box and then putting in the past and just moving on, like that's what you have to do. You have to just move on from it and think about that next thing, because if you keep thinking about those failures, it's tough.
So I got a question. What do you do with second place trophies?
I knew you were going to ask this question. Oh my gosh. No.
Or third place or
No.
fourth place or fucking ribbon from seventh. Like, I don't even know if you ever got seventh, but like.
Guenther
Probably.
always makes fun of me because, I mean, I've just been such a psycho competitor over the years. And he'd always be like, if you ain't first, you're last. Quoting Ricky Bobby, because that definitely was my mindset for a long time. Hey, I've only thrown away a few trophies in my day.
A few. Where do you keep them all?
In boxes.
I would feel like I would throw away the seconds. I mean, who needs, if you get that many first, ditch the seconds, you know? I don't want the
Definitely.
seconds.
I mean, it really, 1 second. Really drinking a lot of water on
I
this
stay hydrated
podcast.
out here.
It really just depends on the contest itself and the meaning I hold for that event. So, you know, Copenhagen this past year, I had a lot of fun doing that contest. The vibes were at an all-time high. The ladies were shredding and sending, and I kept that trophy. It was a second place trophy because I genuinely just like loved my experience there.
Yeah.
I think, you know, when a contest hasn't gone well for me, or I feel like I should have gotten a different placement, that's when I've been like really pissed when I get home.
You mean like the judges goofed it up or something?
Yeah.
Okay, let's talk about that. So, like, what do you do when you feel as though the judges messed up?
I mean,
And has that changed over your career? How you approach that? Like, when you were younger, were you more like
a hothead about it?
Yeah, I guess I don't know because I wasn't around. I never saw any of this. Like,
yeah, I was never
like a throw your helmet on the ground. Like,
no, I was never like that. I more so would be like upset with myself, go like cry in a corner type of person. No, I've had my fair share of conversations with the judges over the years. Like, okay, why did you judge it like this? I always, you know, would be analyzing everything, wanting to go back and figure out how I can improve next time so I don't make the same mistakes, or how I can just improve my overall riding for competing.
All right. I think this is actually a good time we dive into a guest question from none other than Guenther.
Oh.
Hunter, what up? And hello, my dear wife. It's been an absolute honor and a privilege to be by your side for the past 9 years. Navigating this crazy wakeboard life with you has been nothing short of phenomenal, and I couldn't be more proud of everything you've accomplished. The wins, the very few losses, the epic travels and the lame delays, the silly ha-has and the downtimes, all of it has landed us right where we need to be, and what a ride it's been. My first question, are you as nervous as you thought you were going to be? Second question, and on a more serious note, I've been able to watch you work up close for over a decade now. 10 years ago, I remember driving you for a good hour straight as you tried to land switch and regular heel fives back-to-back 3 times in a row. You are relentless. And fast forward to today, and the same goes for your free riding, filming a trick, or getting an epic photo. You don't stop until it looks and feels 110%. Talk about why that's important to you, the Ricky Bobby mindset, but also the cost of perfection. Third question. It hasn't always been easy to eat, breathe, and sleep the same job and passion as your significant other. Over the 9 years, we've definitely had our fair share of ups and downs, but we've always learned from them and gotten through them together. What advice would you give other couples who do the same sport/job/activity? Lastly, let's say you just won a contest. We had a real fun night exploring the new city that we're in, and after a couple drinks, we're in the Uber back to the hotel. What's the last stop you gotta make? Can't wait to listen to you guys. Cheers.
He definitely wrote that down and was reading it out loud because he didn't stumble once. Or he's just that good. I don't know.
Yeah.
That was impressive. So where do you want to start? Because, I mean,
I don't know. From the top?
first one he said, are you as nervous as you thought you'd be? You don't seem nervous to me, but outside looking in, you can never tell.
No, leading up to it, I definitely was feeling it. I mean, I was kind of getting those same nerves as before I compete.
The 4 beers you shotgunned in the bathroom before this probably helped.
Yeah, it probably did.
Yeah.
And the shot of vodka.
In the shop. Yeah, she's 5 deep right now on the pod. Can't tell.
You guys tell?
2, what is the cost of perfection, I guess, and why is perfection so important to you? I think it's an interesting one.
Yeah. I mean, Guenther has seen it all. If I'm going to do something, I want to do it right. This actually would be a great time to give you your present.
Oh, boy.
I'll give it to you after.
Okay.
And it's been a cost. I've been so hard on myself throughout the years, like I said before, but I just hold a super high standard with everything that I do, and my style, all of it. I just want it to look good. I want everything to be proper, and I get a lot of satisfaction from that. I mean, I'm obsessed with progression, and if I can progress just a little bit at a time, I'm stoked.
Okay, I do have a follow-up on this real quick. The KGB5 you landed, NBD for women.
Yeah.
Behind the boat, I'll put a clip in. Were there any that you landed that were like, maybe I'll take it, before the one you like posted and like you felt good about?
No, that was the first one I landed.
That was the first one that was like, okay.
Yes, but
boom.
I came like so close to so many of them, where I was like slipping out of my heels.
Yeah.
And I don't know if I would have posted it. I mean, I'm sure I would have, because if I would have tried really hard to get a clean one.
Yeah.
But if I just couldn't get it, I probably would have posted it.
Let's say you like reverted like right after. Would you have posted it? I just feel like you would. I don't know. I feel like in your mindset, like it wouldn't count.
Like right when I land on the water, like swivel back pretty much.
Yeah, let's say like, and you like use the rope and it like swivels right
Yeah,
away.
I probably wouldn't have.
Yeah.
It just, to me, that's not legit. And
Facts.
I just want it to be proper, and luckily that one just worked out perfect.
I was just curious on that, because that was like immediately what came to my mind of when it's
Okay.
like perfection. Okay, that's
Yeah.
it
Yeah,
could be.
I'm a perfectionist
less
for
than-
sure, and it definitely shows. I mean, sometimes I put too much time into maybe my reels or or certain things to where it's like, okay, just like get it out there already.
Click post and move on with my life.
Yeah.
Okay, so we got the third one from him is advice for other couples within the same profession, and there's very few people in the world that can like give
I
advice on
know.
this, but where it applies to, like, but
I was about to say, I mean, really, I'm talking to like the 0.01% of the world right now, or even less than that. I guess just not every situation is going to be easy, but try to be patient, and you're always going to be learning and growing. And you're going to be evolving, especially in a relationship like what Guenther and I have. I mean, it wasn't easy. There were times, where we'd go to contests and one of us did well, which was usually Guenther, and I would be the one not doing so well. And that was, like, tough on our relationship. But we have grown so much, and now we're just so much of a team. I mean, that's what marriage is, right? So we've navigated a lot of hurdles, and I would say just try to be patient to all the people out there that if you're ever doing the same type of job as your significant other.
yeah, because I could imagine, like you're saying, Guenther's, maybe doing better at contests and you're not. He has to be patient with you of like, she's going to be bummed because I know exactly what it feels like on the flip side when I do not good. So.
And it's hard because I'm bummed for myself, but I'm excited for him, but it's hard for me.
Well, those are two very different emotions
Yeah.
that you're having at the exact same time.
Yes,
so
but I mean, that hasn't happened in so long. That was like earlier on in our days.
And now you both just always win shit, right? You're just always doing good.
Just dominate. No, I'm kidding. No, we just handle it so much better. Like, we've learned a lot and we've grown up a lot too.
So, okay, you're Ubering home from the party after the contest. Where are you stopping? What's the one stop you're done before the hotel?
McDonald's.
OG McDonald's.
Oh, yeah.
Okay. What's the order? What do you get?
A 10-piece chicken nugget with some fries.
What sauce for the
Ketchup
nuggets?
all the way.
Ketchup for the nuggets?
All the way.
With all the options there?
I just love ketchup. I don't know if that's a Midwest thing.
You put ketchup on eggs?
No, hard no.
Okay, that was
Ew.
as a test right there.
No, I mean, growing up, I don't, like I said, I don't know if this is a Midwest thing, but like going to McDonald's was a thing. Did you go to McDonald's?
Yeah, okay, so
where
we would
you would go and like you would like play in the
the play place with the ball pit and all that. Oh yeah.
Yeah, so I have always gotten chicken nuggets since day one.
Yeah.
But that's always like my drunk food where I'm like, okay, McDonald's. There's been a time where we order Uber Eats McDonald's and I'm asleep before it even.
So Guenther's got to house the nuggets on his own.
Yeah, or it just stays out all night. no, but that is like I will never. I was telling Guenther this. I will never go to McDonald's in broad daylight ever.
Oh, it's got to be
like gross.
Yeah, I mean, especially nowadays, dude. McDonald's is taking a steep decline.
Yes,
it's expensive. It's not what it used to be. When I was a kid, it was good.
I know, but
all right, McDonald's. That's the go-to.
That's like it tastes good.
I mean, and you can't go wrong. There's always a McDonald's. That's
yes.
the one. There's always, no matter where you're at in the world, there's always a McDonald's with some nuggets. So
reliable.
All right, I think it's actually time we spin the elephant wheel of questions presented by Liquid Force. So go ahead and grab that down if you can.
The LF'n Wheel of Questions.
Okay, let's go.
Liquid Force likes to make wakeboarding fun, so we're going to make this podcast a little more fun.
I can reach it.
I spin in the elephant wheel of questions. Yeah, you're taller than Tom Fouché probably, so.
Oh my goodness.
You don't got to worry about that.
Where do I put it?
There, and then turn it this way just a little bit.
So I thought that we... okay. All right.
What?
Are you ready?
What do you got? You got a question?
Well, I thought we were doing a milk chug.
We can do a milk chug.
Well, okay. That's why I brought...
Okay.
That's why I brought
you want to kick it off?
Almond milk. Should we kick...
Yeah, we'll kick it off with milk chug.
We don't have to.
No. You think you come in here and you say we're going to do a milk chug. I'm going to say no. We have to.
I brought you almond milk.
For the listeners, I don't even think I mean, maybe I've had almond milk, but I don't remember.
This is like not in the category of milk in Hunter's brain.
It's not. It's not. It's nuts.
And I brought him the most generic.
I'm glad you got unsweetened.
I took that into account.
Yeah, that's good.
Yeah.
So you're doing OG
original.
milk then? I'm going to go grab the OG milk and I'm going to do this
almond breeze.
Is that what's going on right now?
I mean, what if I land on milk chug?
Well, then it'll be a pre-count. Like we already got it.
Okay.
Yeah. All right. I'll go grab glasses then. Yeah. All right. So cheers.
I don't know if I can do this.
I'm going to give it a smell test first. It smells like nothing.
This smells like nothing.
I'm going.
I didn't finish it.
It tastes like nuts.
Well, it's almonds.
It tastes like an almond.
Yeah.
I'm allergic to almonds. Do you think that's going to be a problem?
Maybe.
I guess we'll find out. No, I'm not actually allergic to almonds. Okay. That was...
Do I have to finish it?
You come on the podcast and do the milk chug and don't finish it. That's your prerogative. No one can know. It looks like you're chewing it on the way down.
I'm so full. Whole
At least
milk
you're
is
not,
a different animal.
At least you're not. Yeah, that's the Midwest in you. There you go. The Midwest in you. Let you handle it there. What do you give it out of 10 there? Whole milk. My almond milk wasn't as bad as I thought.
I like milk. That's the thing. Maybe a 9. 9.
Okay.
I prefer 2% though.
Okay. At least you're not a skim fat free. That tastes like nothing.
It's water.
Yeah.
My stomach is doing funny things. Okay.
Well, now you got protein in there. All right. Can you twist that to this way a little bit? All right. Go ahead and give that a spin.
Is this for the content?
Well, yeah, I put it up on screen so people can see.
Oh my gosh, please.
Least favorite switch trick. Switch method. Okay, how about least favorite switch trick you can do? Like that you do and you're like Game Awake, somebody does it.
Oh, I do have a funny story. Currently, probably like a switch toe 5.
Really?
I just don't love it that much. It's
Switch
not
toe
it's
5.
not the most fun for me. I love a switch Pete. That feeling is really fun.
Are we talking? We're talking boat right now. I'm
Oh,
assuming.
yes.
You can switch to 7, right?
Yes.
Would you rather do that than switch to 5? Oh, the milk might be coming back up. She's struggling with the whole milk jug.
I'm just trying to keep certain noises off of the mic.
Dylan, well, for the people that watched the last Shop Talk, Dylan puked milk up all over himself. So as long as you don't do that,
I'm winning.
You're winning. You're doing good. Okay, so switch to 05. I mean, anything else come to mind?
Switch. Oh gosh, I don't know.
I mean, switch to 5. I wouldn't have expected that, to be honest. But
It's just, switch show side's tough. I didn't grow up learning that as like a fundamental, which is kind of a bummer. I learned switch show side like way later in life.
yeah.
So it's still not like a super comfy thing for me to do unless I kind of like warm myself back up to it.
How's switch toe side backside for you on the boat? Like, can you switch toe back?
No, I've never.
Yeah, it's like the hard.
Yeah.
That
Guenther can for sure, but not, I haven't done a switch toe side backside.
Brain does not compute.
I can do it on the cable. But
everything's easy on the cable, right? It's practice,
So, funny story. Jake Palat and we used to go hard on some game awakes on the trampoline, and he would always win by doing a switch batwing to blind. And I could never do it on the trampoline, which is like switch toe side backside.
Yeah.
And it pissed me off so much. That one always fired me up.
All right, so we got a LF'n Wildcard from the crew at Liquid Force. So we actually talked about this before, and I think this is the perfect time for it. Steal a style. Whose style on a wakeboard would you steal if you could steal somebody's style?
Oh.
It can be guy or girl. I don't know. Like, you can kind of go wherever you want with that. Maybe one of each.
Yeah, maybe one of each.
I have a girl in mind, but I'm not going to say.
There's so many great styles in our sport.
I guess it could be boat or cable. Yeah, just one person, I guess. Doesn't have to be boat.
Just one person? I can't pick two?
You can pick two. Well, no, one person. Yeah, one person. You got to pick one.
Dang.
Steal a style. You can have honorable mention if you want, but if you got to pick one, you got to pick one.
I'm a really big fan of Trevor's style. I just love what he does. I'd probably steal his.
It's a good one. That's a great one, actually. I would say.
Yeah.
It's a great one.
All of his tricks. I'm like, wish I could do those. I guess honorable mention. I was always a big fan of Anna Nixtad's style. On the lady side of things, she just always did her tricks so badass.
Yeah, she rode with like power. Like very
she really
intentional,
did.
Yeah,
she really did, and it was always fun to watch her ride, and I was a big fan of what she did on wakeboard.
Yeah, those are great answers, I would say.
Yay!
So yeah, all right, we can go ahead and put the LF'n Wheeler questions back. Thank you to Liquid Force for that. And I think we kind of dive into. So you were on Nautique for a while. Actually, I don't know how long you were on Nautique. And then you did end up switching to MasterCraft, which actually a decent amount of riders have done. And I'm curious on just everything about that, behind that, because those are, maybe I'm wrong in this, but I would think they're the two in my head of like the top kind of brands in wakeboarding in terms of like the towboats, in terms of like an innovation to like X-Star, G23, blah, 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 all that stuff. So I guess, what's all the decision and how that happened?
This has been a story that I've been wanting to tell for a long time, but haven't really told many people about it. So I was with Nautique for 7 years. And throughout my 7 years of being on their team, I never got an increase in pay once. And the reasoning for that, or I was told, was because I'm getting a boat. And the boat is such a big tool for me to use that I don't need to get a pay increase. So, I just kind of went with it and didn't really think much of it. And In 2016, I was with one of the mill riders on the team, and he just like outright said how much he was making from Nautique. And it was over 6 times the amount that I was making from the company. And I just could not believe it. I was so shocked. So I scheduled a meeting with them because, I had to. Yeah, that was really tough to hear. And when I talked to them, there was nothing that they could do at the time because I was in the middle of my contract. I was in the first year of a 3-year contract. And it was, at the time, it was hard, but it was such a blessing in disguise because now I'm with MasterCraft and it's amazing. But I finished out like the rest of my contract, had great seasons, and then when it came time to renegotiate, a few months before that, I had reached out to MasterCraft because I wanted, at that point, I just felt like my values didn't align with Nautique's. I just felt like they didn't support women because the fact that they were paying one of their top female athletes 6 times less than one of the male riders on the team, I just couldn't believe it. So I reached out to MasterCraft, and they were immediately on board. And they're just such a cool company. They're badass. They have a really cool image. They have a very elite team of athletes. So when I went to renegotiate with Nautique, they were only willing to give me a small raise. And at that point, my heart was already set with MasterCraft. So I called them and told them that I wasn't going to be resigning. And they picked up my boat the next day. That was
quick.
That was the end of that. But it's been just truly one of the biggest blessings in my career to switch to MasterCraft. They've been nothing but so supportive of me and everything that I've done, and I just love being a part of the company.
Yeah, hindsight, good career move.
Great career move.
Financially, I'm sure it probably helped, but also like you said, aligning with what you're trying to do and what you're trying to do for the sport and the women in the sport. So it's
exactly
several things working in the factor or in play of like that. So, okay. That's interesting that went like that. And I think, I feel like as a company, they could have at that first year of their contract, if they really wanted to, they could have been like, okay, we're going to draft up a new contract. It will reflect what you want to get paid, or we'll meet in the middle or something like that. Like there's always options. If you really want to like
make it work,
you can make it work. I got a question. So, Nautique Masters every May, you've won a lot.
Yeah.
Is there like a hidden bonus in the MasterCraft contract if you win that contest as a MasterCraft rider at Nautique Masters?
No.
If not, there should be. There totally should be. But they should put like a 10K kicker in there. I'm just like, all right, Meagan,
kind of like
there.
the double or nothing, like
100%
bounty trick
100%. And you know what? There should also be a bonus bounty for is, so actually no, hypothetical. I got a hypothetical question. If there was a ski jump close to the run of the wakeboard run in Masters, hypothetically, would you hit it? Hypothetically.
I thought about this before.
Little board side same way,
I
little
think
board side Bretts.
I'm on a boat board, but I used to hit rails on a boat
Yeah,
board.
you just kind of have to anticipate it,
Yeah.
and then hypothetically, if it was there, would you think about hitting it?
Maybe if it was like what I know is my last Masters,
Yeah, go out.
just go out with a bang.
Yeah, stay tuned.
In honor of Parks,
That's what I'm
I
saying.
feel like somebody has to bring it back.
Somebody has to do it.
Come on.
Somebody has to do it.
What's the next Masters, like the 50 or 60 something? I don't know. Somebody bring it back next Masters.
We need a little spark, We
We
need
do.
something going on. Maybe even bring Parks. Let him hit it again. That'd be great. Anyways, so I
For
don't
the
know.
good old men's.
I was curious on that. Okay, on a real note, in terms of the boats though and stuff, because MasterCraft came up with the new X Star, which they kind of had to. I think, in my opinion, I think the G and the Paragon whole thing was kind of taking a lot away from MasterCraft in terms of the X Star and the high end luxury boat model. in terms of riding the boats, you start on the G with Nautique, and then you go to MasterCraft. What I guess is like the differences that you're noticing between the two wakes? Because you ride, I would say you probably ride most of the boats because all these different contests are pulled by different towboats. Like, what are some things that you can point out right away that are different between these boats and riding behind them?
Yeah, I mean, the size, I would say is relatively the same. The X-Star has a huge wake, and along with the G is also a big wake too. I would say the G is a bit more steep and has just has more of that curling effect that kind of kicks you straight up, whereas the MasterCraft has a nice progressive wake. Yeah, both are great. But I mean prefer to ride the X-Star. It has that just consistent feel to it, and you can really load it up as well. I put a lot of weight in it with the supercharged engine. And even the new X-Star that just got released, I mean, it weighs a lot more.
Have you ridden behind Tyler's? Tyler has a new one, right? Or had the new one? Tyler Hyam.
I actually don't know if he has the new one. I've ridden behind his before, and I have to have him drain weight because it's so big.
I've heard that he has the biggest wake in Florida.
It feels like you're on a super trampoline. Have you ever jumped on a super trampoline?
Yeah.
It's crazy. Yeah.
That's
like that, okay. Where you're in the air and you're just you have way more hang time.
Yeah.
That's what it feels like.
Sick.
But yeah, I'm really excited about the new X-Star. It's badass.
Definitely. So let's talk, because you were saying MasterCraft kind of aligned with what you are trying to do more in terms of the girl side of the sport. And I think one thing we can talk about is Let Her Rip, which is, I don't know how many years you guys have been doing. I would imagine you started it shortly after you joined the company. But what is Let Her Rip? What is your goals behind that? What is it?
So Let Her Rip is an initiative that I started with MasterCraft. I believe, so we filmed the first Let Her Rip video in 2020, and we released it in March of 2021. And it pretty much was just an initiative that we were doing to empower women. And then that same year, we did one clinic at the boarding school where we just had women come out and gave them a really great experience on the water. And then for the past 4 years, we've had multiple clinics throughout the year. And this year, I believe we have 7 of them throughout the U.S. where we are trying to get women in and behind the boat and empower them throughout that process. Because sometimes when you're in a boat full of boys, it can be a bit intimidating.
Boating in general can be intimidating.
Exactly. Yeah. So when you're with a group of females and you're uplifting each other and everybody's excited, you're going to feel way more inclined to want to try something. So, or get out there for the first time and not feel intimidated. So that's really the goal, is to just grow the sport, spread the love, and try to get more women exposed to it.
Yeah, so these are events that you or others are going to and people sign up, that's kind of the vibe?
Yes.
Okay.
I mean, it's just good vibes all day long.
Yeah. What have you seen, because it's been going on for years now, have you seen a real effect on, year after year? You're probably seeing some similar people that come by, or seeing other girls at events where they're like, hey, I did the Let Her Rip event and it got me motivated to go drive the boat or go do this. Have you seen tangible evidence of it working?
I have. There's been a lot of people that have come back to it because they've just have had so much fun at the event. There's actually this rider, her name's Ruby Rose. She came to the first ever Let Her Rip, and she now lives on Clear Lake and wakeboards and is into it. And it's just crazy because when I met her, she was so young, and I hopefully that experience was really impactful for her to where she continued on with it.
Yeah, enough to be like, hey, this can be my thing. I'm going to start doing this now.
Yeah, I mean, and that's the goal. You want to be able to impact women. I mean, and that could be in any way, really, but you just want to leave it with a positive impact to where they have a good experience with being on the water and they want to do it again.
Yeah, that's cool. I think it would be cool to see more boat brands or board brands do. It doesn't have to be Let It Rip or anything, just more events like that to get,
centered around women.
Yeah, exactly. To get them excited and get them into it. And like you said, it is intimidating. Boating in general is intimidating. If you've never driven a boat or been on a boat, that in and of itself is intimidating, let alone like getting behind the boat, doing wakeboarding, wake surfing, whatever, foiling. It's all.
Yeah, and at the events, we also offer to teach people how to drive the boat too, which is a nice added bonus to on top of just getting out on the water.
Yeah, to get on the water, you got to drive the boat. So
exactly.
There you go.
Exactly.
I think it's time we do another segment called the Slingshot Silhouette Challenge, presented by Slingshot. And so for the listeners, I have silhouetted out a rider, a photo, and I have used my not very good black and white printer where the toner is apparently low. But Meagan has to guess who this rider is based on the photo. So she can't see their face, can't see the body, see the board. And for the viewers, I'll put the photo blurred out right now on the screen, and then we'll unblur it if she can guess who this is. It's a female rider. If you can tell, it's a Liquid Force board, obviously.
Is it Melissa?
It is Melissa. Damn
Oh.
it. Okay.
Well, you shouldn't have said Liquid Force Rider.
Well, it says Liquid Force. The board is a Liquid Force. The toner's just low.
I mean, it's.
Can you not even tell on there?
It's kind of hard to tell. I could tell by the boots
Oh, there you go.
that those were, the ones with the strap. I don't remember the name of those boots, but
It is Melissa.
Mel, she's the best.
A very good tail grab, I might add,
Oh,
for
yeah.
the listeners. One of the best grabbers on the female side of the game, I would
yes,
I
the
would
queen
say.
of style herself.
Well, you got it right.
Well, there we go.
There you go.
Yeah, Melissa, I've had a lot of great memories with her, and she's definitely been an inspiration for me and my style as well.
Absolutely. I think it's time, thanks to Slingshot for that, I think it's time we dive into a Patreon question. And this one is from Ollie DeRome. So Ollie's wondering, thank you to all the Patreon members. Your guys' support is what really keeps this podcast going. Seriously, thank you to everybody on there, and we always get some good questions. So we got this one from Ollie, and he's wondering, over the years, you've had to learn how to reinvent yourself time and time again. What is the mindset to do so countless times, as well as the motivation to keep doing it?
Oh, that's such a good question. Thank you,
big
Ollie.
brain on Ollie.
I don't know if I've ever necessarily have done like a full reinvention on myself. Going into each year, I just ask myself, okay, what do I want to do this year? What is calling to me? And what's going to be exciting for me? Because, I mean, I've been doing this for so long that doing the same thing year after year, I mean, it can definitely burn you out for sure. So to switch up the vibes makes a big difference. And luckily for me, riding cable has been just so helpful for my wakeboarding as a whole over the years. I mean, if I would ever get tired of riding boat, I would just spend more time riding cable, and then vice versa. So, I don't know. I think another big thing for me was after I got injured, I had to kind of just change my approach to wakeboarding a bit and ask myself, how can I still push the sport without always putting my body on the line? And incorporating style into technical tricks was that for me. And that really made wakeboarding feel so fresh once I started learning how to grab everything. I mean, going out on the water and doing a simple set of like threes and back ones and just grabs, I mean, that's my favorite type of wakeboarding to do. So, I mean, I don't know if I've ever reinvented myself, but I try to just incorporate things that I think I'll enjoy.
It's like a slow kind of changes here and there.
Yeah.
Okay.
Like evolution,
Yeah.
I would say. And then I guess the mindset for that is that I just love it, and I love progression, and I just want to keep going because it's so fun for me.
Yeah. Okay. Talking about progression, let's talk tricks, because we talked KGB5.
Yeah.
NBD. I'm curious on how long the process of learning this KGB5 was behind the boat.
So I want to say I tried over 30 of them, maybe more. Guenther thinks it was more because we were talking about this recently. But it wasn't like a consistent process. I think last year it was maybe 2 years ago. I was hitting double ups and I had like started to try them a little bit and was kind of getting close, and then I took a break from hitting double ups. And then last year 2023, not 2024, 2023 before Double or Nothing, I started trying them and I was like, it was getting close. And then the off season came around and I took some time off, and then I ended up having to get surgery on my meniscus, so then didn't really try any until like 2024, right before Double or Nothing, and like got right back into it. And I think I did like one set before that and tried a few, and then the set that I did, I think I landed it on the third try. But it was a hard process. It wasn't easy. I took
A lot of good slams I saw.
A lot of good slams. Definitely took one of like the hardest falls I've ever taken after I landed it, trying it again.
Really? 2 to make it true, huh?
It happened 2 days before Double or Nothing. Remember?
Oh, that's right.
Yeah, it was horrible, and we didn't get it on video too, which was such a bummer. But it took me out. It was crazy.
You still rode in Double or Nothing, though, right?
I did. I was like really determined, but I was so scared of like catching another edge because I definitely got concussed.
Yeah.
I was like, please just don't catch an edge.
Any slam but the edge catch with the boot.
Yeah.
Okay, so KGB 5 was a battle. I would call that. Maybe
It
even
was.
a war. That was a big one. I'm gonna throw it way back. Heel front 9 off the kicker at OWC. You remember this unit?
Yeah. Oh, of course.
Or is it switch?
Yeah,
Yeah,
switch.
cab 9. Okay.
It was.
So, I mean, that's a pretty big trick, especially back then. Like,
Yeah.
how long that take? And can we talk about the stance for a minute? What was the stance on that? You remember how wide that was?
Yeah, it was all the way out.
I'll throw it
All
in
the
the
way
video.
out, baby.
Do you think maybe that's why you landed it though?
You know, I've thought about that because now it's funny. Now I ride all the way in.
You're all the way in now on cable.
I was, and then I just moved myself one out.
Okay.
My cable stance currently is wider than my boat stance.
Trendsetter, maybe. This could be a thing.
I don't really remember the process of the heel 9.
It was stomped. Say that.
I remember I did a million heel 7s off the kicker. So then taking it that extra step wasn't like the hardest process in the world. I also have done switch toe 9 off the left kicker at OW, and then I also used to do back 7s.
Yeah.
But like spinning to the right in that way was easy for me on the cable.
Yeah. Switch front side. I'm a big
Yeah.
switch front side guy.
Yeah.
Yeah, the cab 9 was stomped, so. Okay, let's talk setup though. Might as well talk setup right now because
Okay.
you're kind of teasing it. Boat setup, cable setup. You said boat setup. We'll start with that one, I guess, because you're all the way in on the boat. You said, or is it just the stance is technically narrower?
I'm all the way in.
Okay.
Can't go any more in than what my stance is.
Okay.
And I ride 6'6".
Okay.
Pretty straight on.
Yeah.
I've always been like that.
Board boots. What are we looking at?
Yeah, I ride a 134 Liquid Force Me with Vita bindings. And then on the park, I ride a 146 Liquid Force Holiday. And I was riding the Vita Holidays, but I actually just started riding the hooks just to switch it up. And that's been interesting, wearing the liners. So, those are my setups.
What rope length, boat speed? Are we talking on the boat side of things?
75 feet typically is what I ride. Speed kind of just varies. I would say between like 22.5 to 23 is like what I ride in between. Just depends on like what's happening.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
You, I guess, is the stance angles the same on the cable board? 6X still?
Yeah, I did angle it out a smidge.
A smidge.
A smidge.
What is a smidge? Is
Like-
that 1
like
degree, 4 degrees?
I don't know.
We're
It's
just
like
kind of
in
eyeballing it.
between. No, it's like set the same. It's not like I'm just, I don't know. I just wanted to try something different.
You're kind of trying a lot of things different on the cable,
I
sounds
mean,
like.
switching it up is fun. It keeps,
Oh,
I think
agree.
back to what Ollie was, like his question, reinventing yourself. That's a fun way to just reinvent yourself, is to change the little things up, switch up your gear from time to time and whatnot.
Yeah, I feel like that's a normal like thing, and I feel like Guenther takes it to the extreme where he's like foiling, all the like surfing,
Yeah,
winching, boat riding, cable. He's doing everything.
he does.
He does the reinvent to the extreme.
Yeah, he loves it. I mean, it's so fun to be able to do other sports. It's so refreshing to, like, it just, when you go back to wakeboarding, you have like a fresh mind.
Oh, I totally.
I mean,
feel that, yeah.
going from, for you, snowboarding back to riding cable,
Yeah.
I'm sure.
It makes
So-
it more fun. It's like all of a sudden
Exactly.
this is super, super fun again. You kind of forget sometimes, you get used to riding all the time and it becomes not as fun as it used to be.
Exactly.
So yeah, breaks are good. I think it's time we dive into another guest question from Larisa Morales.
Hey Meg, hey Hunter. Thank you so much for the chance to ask a couple of questions. I'm really excited about this one. So here goes. My first question is, Meg, you've done something that I don't think many other people can say in this sport or in any sport, but something really, really hard, which is not only to get to the top of the sport, but to stay there for a very, very long time. And I had the pleasure and the privilege to live with you for a couple of summers and kind of see firsthand what it took. But I would love for you to share from your perspective, like, what do you think it really takes to be able to do that and have the career that you have had over time and over the years? And then my second question is, given your career has been so long, how has wakeboarding changed for you? Like, what was it like and what were you trying to get out of it when you were, 13, 14 years old, starting to compete in the pro division, starting to kind of make a big name for yourself? And then, when we were 18 and you were like absolutely crushing it and, queen of wake, and like you kind of solidified yourself as a champion in women's wakeboarding. And now 10 years after I have retired, and like you're still there at the top. Like, how has it changed and what has it meant for you over the years? Those are my biggest questions. I'll out Meagan and kind of give a tip to anyone, whoever rides with her, if she's ever having a bad day on the water, play Nobody's Perfect by Hannah Montana, and hopefully that'll get her out of the funk. But just kidding. I just wanted to say I love
I don't
you.
think
I
she's kidding.
admire you. You are honestly I'm so grateful because you are honestly one of the best friends anyone could ever ask for. And also like a great inspiration and example. So just wanted to say thanks and love you and hope you guys have a fun one. See ya.
Oh, Larissa, love you. That's so sweet.
And like, I don't think she was joking about the Hannah Montana thing, but I guess I don't know. Hey, we'll answer that first. Does that work?
Okay.
Does that work?
Well,
Would it work?
I mean, like I said, I used to be really hard on myself. So there's been a few sets where I've been pretty pissed off. And as a joke, Jake Palat would put on Hannah Montana, Nobody's Perfect, to get me out of the funk. It's hard not to laugh when you hear that song come on.
That's fair.
It's hard to stay pissed.
That's a good hack there.
It's been a while since somebody has done that, though. It's been a long time. So, hey, Guenther, if
Little pro tip, Guenther. Pull that one out if you need to. All right, so yeah, as a two-parter, the first one is kind of like, what do you think it takes to stay at the top? So.
Well, yeah. When I was younger, my mindset was a lot different than what it is now, and I've had to change that over the years. I was definitely more in the like, okay, I want to win everything, like having a lot of confidence back when I was younger. But then as I've evolved throughout my career, a big thing for me is making sure mentally I'm in a good place to keep going. So throughout my whole career, I have worked with a sports psychologist for competing. And that has been a game changer for me, because if not, I probably would be in my head so much, especially as the years go on and you have this added pressure and you're holding yourself to a certain standard because, working with a sports psychologist has been huge for me, and I've had to just change my mindset as I've gotten older because I'm not the same person I was when I was 18.
I guess kind of dive into the details about that a little bit. It's like, what do you mean by change your mindset? And like, as you're getting older, things have changed. Like, what competitive wise, what does that look like for you?
So when I was younger, like I said before, I was just like so confident and like, I don't even know how to explain it. Just, I'd try to carry that confidence with me throughout everything I was doing. And as I got older, especially with competing, I really wanted to make sure I was enjoying the moment of it and the process, because we get to travel to all these amazing places and live this crazy life. And when I was so focused on competing, it was hard to like enjoy the things around me because of the stress I was putting on myself. So shifting my mindset to, wow, I get to live this life, and trying to be like really present with it has made a huge difference for me to like just want to keep competing as I've gotten older as well, and to keep pushing it.
I like that. That's interesting. You work with does Guenther work with one too?
He has, but it's been always really helpful for me. I mean, my sports psychologist also he's the one that has really pushed about like trying to have fun and enjoy it, because it's just crazy. I mean, like I get to go out and compete in a contest as a part of my job.
Yeah. In a sport that you love.
Yes.
Yeah.
That's so weird and cool. Like what?
Yeah, it's probably tough to kind of separate a lot of people from the outside looking in are probably going, you're living the dream of everybody else who pays to wakeboard or pays to do all these sports. You're on the other side getting paid to do all these sports.
Mm-hmm.
So I guess it's kind of like probably trying to keep that in check of like, okay,
yes,
I'm
do.
getting paid to go wakeboard. If I lose, it sucks, but I still got paid to wakeboard.
Exactly. So it's been a big mindset shift to really just trying to enjoy it all, because it's sick.
Enjoy the journey is what they say.
Enjoy the journey.
I want to talk about women's riding, because Zarakel recently has kind of come back into the scene of boat riding. And for those who don't really follow the boat scene, she's extremely good, competitively great. I mean, amazing wakeboarder, as are you. And I feel like before she left, it was kind of you and her at the end there, like battling for podium, like the top spot, right?
Definitely.
So what's it like having her back on the scene, I guess? I mean, do you like it? Is there like, damn it, now I have to ride against Zara? Like, what's that like, I guess?
No, I mean, Zara is amazing. She's an amazing wakeboarder, and she's pushed the sport. We saw that last year with her doing the handle pass back 7 and toe 9 behind the boat. I mean, those are some banger tricks. And, I think it's amazing to have her back, because it is so helpful for women's wakeboarding. Like, we need girls that are really good to keep pushing and moving the sport forward. And yeah, I've been really stoked to see her back, and I think it's great. Like, she's that next generation, and the future is so bright for women's wakeboarding.
Yeah. She's still super young. I feel like
she's
been around forever. You think she was older than she was.
That's what a lot of people said about me too. When I was around that age, they're like, "Oh, I thought you were older because I've been around for so long."
Yeah. A lot of years left. Okay. So I guess as a whole, how do you feel about like the health of women's, competitive boat riding? I guess we can talk about cable separately, but like the boat side of things, how do you feel about it right now?
I am really stoked on where it's at in the moment. Even though we don't have the same amount of events as we did, 10 plus years ago when the women were on the pro tour. That doesn't discredit the level of progression that's happened as well. I mean, it's on a completely new level currently. And also, we are finally having equal pay, which is just insane. I mean, it definitely should have happened sooner, but that has been so great to have just more opportunities in the sport. And then even the younger generation that's coming up, I mean, there are so many junior girls in our sport. It's hard to keep track of all of them because there's so many good ones. And, I mean, there's multiple girls from the U.S., from Australia, from Europe. I feel like the future is looking bright for women's wakeboarding and boat.
Okay. I mean, elephant in the room, we got to talk about PWT because Pro Wakeboard Tour is like, obviously you have Worlds and you got IWWF events and you got all these other events that are going on that have purses and people come in for them. But to me, the PWT is like, it's a 4-stop, boat-only series, the best of the best. Girls aren't on it anymore. Haven't been on it for a long time now. I personally don't know the reasons why or why not they're on. I think they should be. I think it's,
You and
fascinating.
me both.
So I guess, yeah, what are your thoughts on that as a woman in the sport at the top of it?
I mean, it's just disappointing. After all these years, we still aren't back. And a huge inspiration for me has been Amber Wing. She really has been at the forefront of that fight when it was happening. Always just pushing for equal prize money. And, when the women got taken off, she was really just pushing and trying to just get answers. So shout out to Amber. She's a big inspiration to me and has inspired a lot of, me pushing for that as well. But it just sucks. I mean, it's been so many years, and I think the reasoning is that they can't get the sponsors for it to support the women's prize money. So, I don't know. I mean, I wish that they would. Women need more opportunities to make a career out of this.
Yeah.
Because with less events, you don't have a lot to choose from.
Yeah, and I think the residual effect, too, is huge. I mean, I don't know if you ever went to a Pro Wakeboard Tour when you were a kid and maybe you saw Dallas Friday and then one thing leads to another, similar to the Let Her Rip events.
Yes.
It's all these big things where, I don't know, as a little girl, I couldn't imagine going to a Pro Wakeboard Tour event these days and just seeing that there is no women's division.
Yeah, just all
the
men.
sport, to me, of wakeboarding would probably die right then if I was a little girl.
Yes.
I'd be like, oh, it's not a girl. Girls don't do it. I'll go play soccer.
Yes. And I think, you make such a good point when you say that, because I really do feel like women and being a part of it helps, the greater good of the sport as a whole. And, I mean, when younger girls are seeing women not on the pro tour, they probably think that this is a sport that women don't do. So, I don't know.
Which is a reasonable assumption for a young girl to make at a Pro Wakeboard Tour event or seeing it.
Or maybe it's too hard for girls to do, so
Yeah.
I wouldn't try it.
Yeah.
No, it's frustrating.
Okay,
For
so
sure.
I guess I don't want to go too much more into this, but let's say, hypothetically, I don't even know how many dudes there are on the tour, 16 or something like that.
Mm-hmm.
If they did half that, 8 and lower prize money to start, would that be an acceptable avenue that you would be like, okay, this is a good start, we can continue to grow this, or
Yeah, I mean, I would say yes. We have to start somewhere to get back on, but that effort just hasn't even really been shown at all.
Yeah.
I've never been approached or had that conversation about getting the girls back on the tour. But I think if we could just start somewhere, even if it wasn't as much, we can try to get sponsors for it and build it back up to having that equal prize money.
Yeah, definitely. I got a lot of ideas of what the Pro Wakeboard Tour could be, but we won't dive into those right now.
Yeah, I mean.
Anyways, yeah, that's good. I mean, I think, yeah, it would be awesome to have him back on. And
I agree.
I don't know the dude's thoughts on the tour, but I would hope that people could realize that it's like a bigger issue. It's not. This is for the health of wakeboarding as a whole, not just for your immediate like paycheck this weekend. Which I get. It's important to pay your way. You got to get paychecks to make it happen.
But at the end of the day, you can't just be focused on yourself and what you're doing or how much money you're making. You need to make sure you're giving back to the sport for like the greater good to grow it and make sure that when you leave the sport, it's better than you found it.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, we don't want the people that take, then leave, and then all of a sudden never think, talk, or experience wakeboarding again. It's like, well, you were probably a net negative for this whole thing, so.
Exactly.
You suck. Let's a little bit more on women's stuff. Like you were talking about equal pay. Do you think like every event should have equal pay in terms of prize money and purse?
Yes, of course. And I think with all the WWA events, it was either I think in 2020 or 2021 is when we were starting to see that change. So I could definitely tell a story here about when I experienced some pushback. So after Moomba 2020, I posted just the difference in the prize money on my story because I didn't even win that contest. I think Beck Gange won that event. She made $4K winning the event, and I believe that the guys made $12K. So that was like...
For first place to first place?
Yes.
Okay.
And I just posted it saying, like, this is not fair. We really need to, like, make a change. And it was just crazy the amount of pushback that I received from the men in the sport at the time that were saying that the women don't deserve the same amount of pay because we're not doing the same tricks as them. We're not as good as them. And that was tough. I mean, I definitely could have handled that situation a lot differently. I don't know if you saw that.
Oh, yeah. I was following along.
Probably shouldn't have reposted screenshots of what they said on my story. That was pretty wild. But when I was younger, I was just pissed about it, and I didn't care. But now I would definitely approach that situation differently. And, I mean, I don't know if those type of moments kind of move the needle a little bit to making those changes.
Yeah. Passion is good. I will say, like, if you're passionate about something, it's the worst thing is to just sit by the sidelines and not say anything and not do anything. Because what's that going to get done? Nothing. You know what I mean?
Exactly. Like, you have to step up and be a part of that change. You have to. Especially when it comes, like, for me, I'm really passionate about that for the women. I just want to make sure that we get the same amount, and because we deserve it. We really do. We work really hard. We have the same amount of followers. Like, we're getting the views. So if anybody says we don't, then they just don't really deserve the time of day.
And in terms of growth of the sport and product sales and stuff, more men wakeboard than women. So you could then say that the opportunity is larger to get more women into the sport to sell more women's products.
Yeah, exactly.
That's just a financial aspect of it that
Oh.
I want to touch on. But, okay, so you're talking about speaking your mind here, and you're a big voice in the sport. You've been around for a long time. How do you decide when and where to, like, pick and choose your battles of stuff that you feel important to talk about? Whether it's women's pay or whatever, it could be contests, formats, all that stuff. Like, how do you navigate that of like, okay, I feel passionate enough about this, I'm going to say something and it might make some waves, or I feel passionate about this, but maybe it's not worth the battle right now, I guess.
Yeah.
How do you do that?
When I was younger, in my early 20s, I definitely was picking a lot more battles.
You had the energy for it.
I did. And it was different then too. We still didn't have that equal pay. So I felt really passionate about speaking my opinion on it. But now I just try to pick matters that I feel like are really important. It doesn't really happen too much nowadays to where I feel like I need to speak my mind. But I just try to be mindful about that. And I also try to let something like marinate a little bit before just
That's always the best idea.
going straight to the
to the comment section.
yeah.
That is always the best idea to at least think about it.
Yeah, like let it simmer a bit. But yeah, that's funny.
Okay. A little bit more on female riding. What do you think it's going to take for a female to win the Alliance Rider of the Year?
I think that the women sometimes get overlooked in the sport a bit, which is tough. I don't know. I mean, Rivers really put on a good front last year. But I feel like women just, they get overlooked.
Do you think there should be two separate awards? A male and a female rider?
I think there needs to be a female winner before they make two separate awards.
Oh, why is that?
Because I think they, like, a woman needs to win it.
Outright.
Yeah. And then from there, then they can be like, okay, now we could have two categories for this. But you need to show that you're considering what the women are doing in the sport.
Yeah. I like that. I like that mindset. I think that's a strong mindset of win it outright, and then because I think there should be two separate awards for a lot of reasons.
Yes. Well, for the longest time, I was always curious why there wasn't, and I was always like, well, with skateboarding, they just have like Rider of the Year, and like we're doing the same thing, one Rider of the Year. But let's just pay more attention to what the females are doing in the sport.
Yeah.
And not just overlook them because a male did a harder trick. I mean, Rivers, she did a lot. And not saying that Gavin didn't deserve it, because he definitely did. Fusion really sealed the deal for him. But, I think just paying a little more attention to the girls, because there's a lot of cool shit going on.
Yeah, and this is has a whole trickle down effect of like if a woman wins Rider of the Year, then women in the future can realize. I think it should be a separate category. I think because I think it would be cool to have women be like, every year there's a new women Rider of the Year and then a new male or whatever Rider of the Year, and you have two.
And it's something to strive towards.
Yeah.
When I was when I had won Wakeboarding Magazine Rider of the Year, that was something I was like working towards. I was trying to be like a well-rounded rider, competing in both boat and cable, trying to like release footage when I could, or come out with videos, give back to the community, like do all the things. And I knew like doing those things, I could win that award.
Yeah.
And I think that with Alliance, for the greater good of the sport, they should have those two categories.
Yeah, 100%
in the
agree.
future, but only after a girl wins it, because
Okay, I got one more before we move on from this Rider of the Year topic. Do you think that people, like, for lack of a better term, have gotten used to your success in terms of, because you brought a printed out thing of all your podiums, and like, I don't think you're going to say anything because it's like humble to not be like, yeah, here's my fucking all my podiums, like I've won everything. But like, yeah, you win a lot. You've won a lot. You continue to win a lot. You've got big sponsors. Like, do you think people are just like, oh, it's another year for Meagan Ethell. She's won this, that, or the other. Whoop-de-doo. Like,
yes, I do feel that way. It doesn't bother me that much though, because I've had my days of being celebrated and whatnot. So I'm super happy to like pass down that torch to the next generation and let them have a moment, for their success to shine. But I think maybe my success has been people have just gotten used to it.
Yeah, and you don't have to say that. I
tired.
guess like I could see that from the outside
Yeah.
looking. Like you don't have to say the words, but like that's just natural. Like
Yeah.
with any athlete
Yeah.
that has a career that is like super successful, you just get used to it. You're like, oh, that's
Or
Yeah.
you're just ready to see that next person
yeah.
kind of step up and take over, which I totally get it. I mean, that's just how sports go.
Yeah.
But yeah, just trying to run with it as long as I can.
All right, we're back.
Okay.
Wait, yeah. I guess I got a gift coming my way.
You have a gift. Oh,
What is it?
You have a gift. You're just gonna have to open it and see. Okay, but listen, look at what am I trying to say? English. There's a card, and you gotta open the card and read it out loud.
Okay, it's light enough. It's not nice. That was what I was worried about. It being a nice. Oh, I don't know what this is, but okay, I know what this is. Oh, man. Okay, so I will take a photo of this and put it on the screen for the viewers, for the listeners. The left side is a screenshot of an Okamon Man post. At least you gave film credit in the comments to Taylor Hanley.
I did.
On the right side, it says, Hunter, thank you for being the reason why I don't grab Nellen anymore. Sincerely, Meagan. Full circle moment right here is what's going on.
I give you full credit for.
Okay. When that was posted, were you mad at me? Did you hate the person who posted
I
that?
was
Be
mad.
honest.
I was mad.
What was the reaction? I mean, you did comment Format Films. That's a witty reply. Like, that's good.
Yeah, like you
didn't
posted
get it.
this and you didn't tag the filmer.
You're right. I didn't
I
give
was-
any credit.
I was a little pissed, but
Oh, you could be a lot pissed. That's okay.
I
This is a
think
safe space here. Just me and you.
I think we should. I think it would also be funny to like tell the story about how I came to find out.
I think this is a good time for that.
Yeah,
This was a lot of effort. I will say this is a great gift. This is going on the wall. This is 100% going on the wall. All right, yeah. So
I knew
yeah,
you would like it.
what's the story?
Oh,
Because I was there.
okay. So I went to Grand Rapids for the boat show. How many years ago? Maybe like 3.
Post COVID for sure. Like after COVID
like
was
3
done.
or 4 years ago.
Yeah.
Hanging out there with the whole gang, and everybody is just so fun to hang out with. Hunter's there. We become friends over the weekend. It was great. And this whole entire time, I had no idea that he was Okamon Man. So we're traveling back. Like, for some random reason, you're flying back.
I have
to
a wedding in Florida.
Yeah, we're both on the same flight back to
Not my wedding.
Orlando. And as we are down is it the jet bridge?
That connects the plane?
Yes.
Yeah. I think that's where.
I think so. When we were there, Hunter was like, yeah, Meagan, you don't like me.
Wait, this is how that happened?
Yes. I remember. And you were like, yeah, Meagan, you don't like me. And I was like, what do you mean I don't like you? Like, we just hung out this whole weekend. We're friends. And you're like, I'm Okamon Man. And my mind was blown. It was crazy. And I'm like, oh my God, what sort of juicy details did I tell this guy over the weekend?
I pulled out all the numbers, everything you could imagine.
Yeah. But
That
thought you would like that.
This is an amazing card. That is hilarious. And
But-
yeah, that did happen. True story. I did owe you a beer at that point though, because I know you sold a couple wakeboards or whatever, and
Yeah,
so
I won the
I had
bet.
to buy you a beer. Yeah, you did win a bet. I paid up. So yeah, not an ice in here though, apparently, but we're gonna open it up.
There's another gift.
A bucket hat, I think.
There's some sentimental value.
Oh, that's sick.
It's an
OG wakeboarding hat.
from the 90s.
How'd you get this?
So my uncle, who brought the wakeboard to our cottage, that was his. He was into wakeboarding, and he gave it to me. So I pretty much have had it on my little trophy shelf for all these years. And I really was trying to think of something to bring for you.
I kind of want to wear this though. Like I don't know.
I don't know. I don't think it'll fit your head. I tried
is
it
it?
on today just to
Oh,
see. I
yeah,
was
it's
curious.
small.
It's tiny.
Oh, let's hang it up then. We're gonna hang it up then.
And I was just thinking what to bring you. I was just thinking like, oh, I could bring him a trophy, but
A second place trophy. Dig through
Yeah,
the
I
trash to
should've.
find it. You know.
I should have done that. But I just thought that would be really cool amongst all the memorabilia on the wall.
No, that's awesome. Thank you very much.
You're welcome.
That's I was not expecting the bucket. I wasn't expecting either of that, to be honest. I was totally caught off guard on both of those.
I gave you a warning last week.
You did, and it didn't help. It didn't help. I had no idea that was coming.
Okay.
So that is thank you very much. That's awesome.
You're welcome.
Got a lot of gifts that have been brought, and this is definitely at the top. I think we're going to dive into a guest question from Don Wallace.
No way. What's up, Don?
Boss man.
He's the man.
Hey, Meagan, what's happening? It's Dawn. Hope the podcast is going well so far, and Hunter hasn't hit you with any too hard-hitting questions. But anyway, yeah, just stoked to see what you got coming up this season. It's obviously been an honor having you ride for Look Force as long as you have. Saw some pretty badass footage of you today on a backyard rail park, so stoked to see that. Yeah, now let's get to some questions. I've actually got it's a two-parter, totally different, but this first one has nothing to do with wakeboarding, but being a cat lover like myself and like Susan, I'm curious. Susan always says that there's one extra human in the house as far as the cats are concerned, so she's pretty positive that's me. I'm curious in your household between you and Guenther, or maybe even Rivers, now that she's living with you guys, who the extra human is, the spare human. But then more specifically to your career in action sports, I'm just curious who current riders or probably more preferably past riders, it doesn't even have to be wakeboarders. It could be snowboarders, surfers, skaters, it could be basketball players, whatever. Any women that have really motivated you and helped you get to where you are, whether you know them or not. But, we all have idols. We all have people we look up to, people that we try to mold ourselves after. And I'm curious, in your perspective, who those women are. And then last but not least, you ready to hit some double ups at Brostock in June? Hopefully you are. So, yeah, hope the podcast is going great. And that's what I got for you. Thanks. See ya.
Three-parter. So first one, who's the spare human in the house?
I think I am.
It's you.
I think so. I'm so sad about it. It really
tough.
hurts. It's
That's
tough.
tough.
It's tough. Smokey, I think, prefers Guenther.
Part two.
But also, shout out to Dawn. I mean, I feel the exact same way. Being sponsored by LF for so long has been just such a privilege, and I'm so grateful for all the memories we've all made together. It's been epic.
Yeah, Don's the man.
He is.
No doubt about that. I don't think you'll find anybody that says otherwise.
Yeah.
So, who are some women that have motivated you?
Oh, there have been just so many in the sport.
So, yeah, it could be
I mean, I
anyone.
kind of want to just name some wakeboarding ones and then branch off a little
Yeah.
bit. So definitely Dallas was a huge motivator, inspiration when I was a kid growing up. Definitely Amber as well, all the MBD tricks she was doing. Even when she rallied all the ladies for, we came out with a female, a girls movie.
Out of the kitchen? No.
No.
No. It was the...
It's not Chick Flick. It's not that one.
I know exactly what you're talking about. The one with Amber has the Ender part in, right?
Yes.
Why am I blanking on this movie? We're going to take a pause right
Okay.
now, and I'm going to figure out what the name of this movie is. 'Cause
Yeah, that's fair.
it is on the tip of my tongue right now.
But I was so young in it. I was only 15.
Sets in Motion.
Yes,
Okay.
it was set to motion. Is it? Yeah, so the Amber rallied up all the girls, had us film for Sets in Motion, and yeah, she was a big influence on me as well as Melissa. Melissa was always just so sweet and laid back, and her style she had just had that signature West Coast style to her. Anna, Nick said, obviously, on the cable side, she just always inspired me with what she was doing, for sure. I would say outside of our sport, Carissa Moore and her legacy, I feel like we were kind of creating our legacies at the same time. So she was a big inspiration for me as well as Jamie Anderson from snowboarding. I've always looked up to her and what she's done in the sport. Gosh, I feel like I'm just missing so many names, but.
I mean, you hit a lot already, so.
Yeah, I mean.
But yeah, I can imagine there's a ton.
There's a lot of women who have inspired.
So good.
Oh, yeah, she's definitely goated for sure.
And the last one, you going to hit some double ups at Bro Stock? Are you going to Bro Stock?
Dawn, I'm so sorry. I need to tell you this before you listen to it on the pod.
You've got a little bit of time, but yeah.
Oh my gosh, I can't go to Bro Stock, and I'm so devastated.
What is the weekend? It's MASH, right? Are you going to MASH?
No, it's my cousin's wedding that I grew up with. I'm heartbroken, but I'm hoping that we have Bro Stock next year.
I have to imagine. I've been saying this. I have to imagine it's going to go well.
But like the first Bro Stock back in so long.
Yeah, you're definitely missing a big Bro Stock.
I'm going to have FOMO in each situation either way. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Well, there's only going to be one of your cousin's wedding, and there I am hoping to be many more Bro Stocks.
Exactly.
So that's maybe the mindset there. And I'll definitely be there getting some content, so you can at least follow along.
Yeah.
Is the goal.
Get some FOMO.
Yeah, even more FOMO. Okay, yeah, I mean, speaking of girls, let's talk about some up-and-coming riders on the boat and cable side of things. So, I mean, I know we were chatting earlier before the pod just about some girls who are ripping these days in boat and cable. I mean, yeah, let's spew some names. Who we got? What are we looking at? Who should the people follow?
Yeah, so first of all, on the boat side of things, Julia Castelli, she is just on a tear right now, and she's so cool and funny, and I am really hyped on her and what she's doing. I mean, wrap heel 9, wrap back 7.
Back 5's like it's nothing.
Yeah. Switching regular chromos. So
yeah.
She is killing
it. She came out of nowhere, too. It was like all of a sudden it was like a couple weeks span, like 2 summers ago or whatever, and it was like boom.
And it was so fun. She competed in Double or Nothing, and she stayed with me. And we were just hitting double ups. She was actually in the boat when I had that bad crash.
Oh.
Yeah. But some other names. Kit Smith is also another up-and-coming girl on the boat who has been cool to watch. She does some good grabs, wrap tricks. Another sender is, I'm going to mispronounce her last name, but Natja Holscher, I want to say.
I'll put all the links below so you can follow and see.
She's from Chile. And
Chile.
she has a lot of amplitude when she rides. And I think, like, last year she just started riding pro, and I definitely see her future looking pretty promising in the sport. And then on the cable side of things, Nicole Ragazzo, I know she's, like, been pro for a little bit now, but she's still so young, and she was my partner at Wake the City, like, 3 years ago, maybe. And to see just her progression over the past few years has been pretty incredible. So, yeah, Nicole. And then I would say lastly on the lady side, Anna Bearden, who's an absolute ripper. I mean, the overwrap KGB5 and just sending it on the 2.0 at Valasta.
Yeah.
The girl's got some steez.
The hard thing about Anna is you can't find clips of her. Sure, like I went to her Instagram. There's like one tagged fucking post of her riding from Slingshot, and then like nothing, no hard posts or anything. Which kind of respect the game, I guess. But
let's see some clips, Anna.
Watch you ride. Like,
maybe she's just like about to drop apart.
That would be a very Valdosta thing to do for sure. Drop a pull part there. All right, those are good names. I like that. There's a lot of up and comers, which is cool. Good healthy sport. So let's talk competitive riding, I guess, kind of shift gears a little bit and kind of dive into contests and your mindset going into contests, because you've ridden a lot of them. And I'm kind of wondering what your mindset is on the dock and if it's changed over the years, in terms of, are you nervous? Are you quiet? If people try to talk to you, are you going to be like, hey, no, like I got my headphones on, I'm getting ready for my run. Like what's it look like now and how's it changed, I guess?
Oh, gosh. I've always been a nervous competitor through and through. I still get nervous after, hundreds of events that I've competed in. I think when you're nervous, you care about it. And because those nerves haven't gone away, I still really care about it. And I care about how I do. So it's a good thing, yeah. It's a good thing. And I think it helps, too, with competing. But when I'm on the dock, I think when I'm in that moment, that same feeling and how I've approached it has been the same throughout the years, but I'm just kind of feeding myself different information. Whereas nowadays, I'm just really trying to stay present in the moment, feel where I'm at, breathe. Breathing is a huge key that I feel like a lot of people just forget to do.
I guess, what do you mean by that? Like conscious breathing?
Yes. So I think what I do, I do like the theory of 4.
Is it like the box breathing?
No, I just breathe in for 4 seconds and then out for like 4 or 6, I think. Do you feel calmer?
I was pretty chilled, to be
Yeah.
honest. But yeah, I do feel good.
Yeah, so just really trying to focus on taking deep breaths, staying present. And I mean, because I've been doing it for so long, it's easy to let like little moments like pop into your brain about like, oh, when this happened at that event, or like this, or like the conditions or that, instead of just being in the moment and like focusing on the controllables of like what's right in front of you. So that's, I would say, been a big thing for me over my whole career. And yeah, just trying to enjoy the moment, have fun with it.
Interesting. Okay, so boat contest wise, do you ever like boat contest conditions are always different for the most part? Some are on Great Lakes where it's calm and it's no big deal, but a lot of the times it's always varying. Do you like consciously go out and practice to ride in shitty conditions on Clear Lake when you are home, or are you to the point where you're like, it's
like
not
a
glass,
fair
I'm not
weather
riding?
wakeboard?
Yeah, it's like, yeah, be honest. I mean,
I used to be more like that when I was younger.
like go out and ride in the bad conditions.
Yeah, like in like shit conditions. I would, and the thing is, I would get up right away and go straight into my run.
Wait, like wake up?
No, like on the boat. I wouldn't do any like warm-up jumps, like just straight into it.
I mean, I guess that's mimicking contest
It
situation,
It
right?
is. So that's what I would always do. I mean, no matter what the conditions or the setting, because when you're in a contest, that setting is so different than when you're at home and you're comfortable in your backyard behind your own boat.
Yeah.
So always just trying to replicate hectic settings, I guess.
I got a Patreon question from Gavin Stuckey.
Oh.
He's wondering, does your back hurt?
That's his Patreon question?
Does your back hurt?
No. Actually.
His follow-up, what were you going to say?
Oh, I wasn't gonna. No, I said like no. Actually,
Your back
like
doesn't
it
hurt.
actually doesn't hurt.
He's wondering if it hurts from carrying the sport by being the best cable and boat rider on the women's side of things. So your back doesn't hurt. There's your answer, Gavin.
No, Gavin, it doesn't hurt. Oh gosh, thank you, Gavin. That's really nice of you to say that. I definitely do not feel that way about myself, but I mean, you know, like the whole goat situation.
The whole goat situation.
Like, I just feel like there's so many people who have done so much that it's hard to like choose a person to represent like being the greatest ever, because what I've done is so different from what Dallas has done and from what Amber has done, or even from like what Raph has done to what Parks has done. Like each generation has just been different.
Yeah, it's
and
very different.
how do you choose the best ever? I don't really have an opinion on that.
What about GOAT of all time? Like, do you have in your personal mind, like, I think Dallas is the best on the women's and I think Raph's the best on the men's, or do you not even boil it down to one?
I feel like I just can't. I don't know. It's just like even comparing like what Dallas did to what Raph did, like it's so different as well. How do you choose?
I don't know. I just choose Raph and call it a day.
That's an easy out.
It is an easy out.
But it also is a great answer.
Yeah.
Because he's done so much in the sport.
Mm-hmm.
But it is like an easy answer.
But there's arguments to be made for a lot of other people too.
Exactly.
Scott Byerly, Randall Harris. I mean, Guenther can enter the conversation at some point too. So
I agree.
All right, kind of a follow-up serious Patreon question from Garrett Cortez. And he's wondering, how important is it for you to be seen as a well-rounded rider? Because, you do ride boat and cable, and you have been for a long time. Maybe you've kind of swung one way or the other here and there, but like you've made a conscious effort to do that. How important is that to you to do both?
It's important to me. I used to get really annoyed when people would just call me a boat rider. Also because I'm not competing in the same amount of cable events, and I'm not posting cable clips all the time, but I'm still a cable rider. I've been doing it like damn near the same amount of time I've been riding boat. But it's important. I mean, and it's helped really like balance out everything for me. Like I had mentioned before, like getting burnt out and having cable and boat to kind of balance and rely on one another has been huge for me. And also, I don't think I need to be a competitive cable rider to be considered a cable rider.
Yeah.
I can still film if I wanted to and put out clips, but it's just hard to balance the two and try to do what I can.
I mean, every day you're on the cable, you're not on the boat. Every day on their boat, you're not on the cable. I guess you could do both in the same day, but like every day you're progressing one, you're actively not progressing the other. It's like opportunity cost, right? So it's tough, but
for sure.
Why do you think more boat riders, maybe even on the female side of things, like don't ride cable or maybe don't post cable, or like I can just think of a lot of female riders that ride the boat and it seems like they're just kind of sticking to the boat lane.
Yeah.
And it's interesting to me, I guess.
I mean, I guess you could say the same thing about cable riders on boat. I mean, it's only really the Orlando crew that's been dabbling into the boat scene, but I think it's just what they've known for so long. And when you get really good to a certain point, it's like, why should I even bother dabbling in this side of the sport? Like, it's going to take me a really long time to like build my progression. So maybe that's why.
I just think it's so fun. Like, I think both are so fun.
Yeah.
Like, I just couldn't see a world where I would ever just do one.
Yeah, but you also grew up wakeboarding behind the boat, correct?
Yeah.
So you know the feeling of both at an early age. So switching from one to the other is not like obscure.
Yeah. That's fair.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's interesting.
But both. I love both. I've currently been having a lot of fun on the cable, and I'm sure I'm going to be picking up the boat riding again here soon, and then it'll switch a bit.
Yeah. Interesting. I like doing both. Both are so fun. It's just so fun. Wakeboarding's so fun.
It is.
What are the advantages and disadvantages of sharing major sponsors with a significant other?
Yeah, that's a good question. The advantages are that we get to really work together as a team. It makes just a huge difference having Guenther there to confide in him with, what's going on, like the ins and outs of the companies that we both ride for, and whatnot. We really just lean on each other, which is so rad. And then another advantage is that we get to travel together to shoots and like do all this crazy stuff together, and it's awesome. I mean, having Guenther there just makes it that much better. And then I would say like the disadvantages of sharing sponsors is that sometimes it's hard to separate that work-life balance, because we both have been wakeboarding for so long. It's our lives. So it's hard to be like, okay, at 5:00, like we're shutting off the wake talk for the night.
Yeah, I didn't even think about that.
Yeah. So it's just like kind of not.
Does that work when you say like we're shutting off the wake talk, and then do you guys catch yourselves all of a sudden at like 7:30 p.m. being like?
Or it's like I check my phone. It's like, oh, I got an email from this person saying this.
And it just sparks the whole conversation.
Yes, but I think like around dinner time, I'm like, okay, let's just
chill out for the night.
Chill out for a bit, because Guenther is, I mean, he's a wake nerd, and he can like go on, especially with Rivers living with us, and she's like so young and excited that it's like, they like to talk some wake, but I mean, I do too, but I would say that's like one of the disadvantages, but really
you just got to keep it in check.
There aren't many disadvantages to it.
So who rides more, you or Guenther?
Probably
A wakeboard.
Oh, I don't
'Cause
know.
I know he does all this foil stuff.
I
And
mean,
all that.
as of recently, he's been riding more than me. I would say it's pretty even, though. Like, in the summer, we're both riding a lot.
Yeah.
I'm riding, like, almost every day if I can.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. Since you guys have gotten married, do you give Guenther a discount on rent, or like what's the situation there?
Or is he, like, maybe he goes and, like, buys my boat gas?
Yeah, or you like make him do all the chores and stuff. Like,
And
what's
then
that?
I'll give him, like, a free set.
Yeah.
Yeah. No. Dynamics have changed.
Well, you got the joint bank account now, so it's kind of all going into one. I would imagine. That's the whole marriage thing, right?
It's fun.
I guess I didn't even talk about. Congratulations.
Oh, thank you.
Because that's like somewhat recent, right? Like it was.
Yeah.
When did you guys do it?
In October.
Was it fall? Yeah. Okay. So yeah, tell me about that. I feel like.
Yeah, it was really cool. So we got engaged last April, and then we were trying to figure out like what the heck we were gonna do, and then we were like, let's just get eloped because this will be so much easier than trying to plan a wedding. So we landed on New Zealand because we were going to Australia for Worlds. So we just like linked the two trips together. And yeah, we went to New Zealand, eloped on the slopes, as we like to call it.
Eloped on the slopes. Did you actually?
We took a helicopter
Oh, wow.
to like this hilltop in Wanaka, New Zealand, over a lake there, and it was just so beautiful. It was amazing. Best day ever.
Okay. Best day ever.
Best day ever. Yeah, it was
obviously, I
so
would imagine.
great.
Did you do honeymoon, or was that kind of like a 2-in-1 situation?
It was, yeah. We stayed in New Zealand for 2 weeks, and that was our honeymoon.
Okay.
We just linked the two together.
Sick.
Yeah, we didn't throw the wedding, but had like the most epic honeymoon.
Yeah. That's awesome.
Thank you. Thanks.
So I guess I had another Patreon question from Kathy Williams, and she had a couple, and this kind of ties into it. And she's wondering, of all the big moments in your career, can you remember a time where you reached an emotional high that you realized you're never going to reach again, or might never be able to reach again? So it could be competitive wise. I mean, obviously getting married is there, but that's not really like your career. So like anything like in your career where you are looking back and going, I'm never going to feel that again. It was that good. Biggest win, biggest moment.
I would say the closest moment to feeling that was probably when I landed KGB5.
That was it.
I mean, there's few of those moments that happen in a career.
Yeah.
Like an MBD moment.
What's huge?
And it was really hard. It took time. It was a different feeling than competing and winning an event. I mean, it was the feeling of I literally just moved the sport forward. And it feels tangible. So I hope I have that feeling again. We'll see. I'll try, but those moments aren't guaranteed, so.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's interesting. That's cool. What do you think the next MBD is going to be for women?
On boat?
Because cable, I feel like it could be a variety of things.
I would probably say like another Mob 5 will probably be in the works soon. Yeah, I would say a Mob 5, maybe like a Crow 5, or I mean I could see Julia definitely doing the next MBD, or even like Zara. Yeah, I mean I don't know.
That's exciting. Yeah, I don't know. Between those two, I mean those would be. I don't know. Who knows what they're cooking up? I guess could be anything.
Maybe I'll cook something up this summer too.
I feel like you get tricky. There's like one that probably no one's really thought about doing.
Yeah.
I don't know. Maybe not. I guess I don't know the list of MBDs and what are ABDs and NBDs, but there's a lot, I'm sure.
What are ABDs?
Already been done.
Already been done. Okay.
Yeah, MBD,
Okay.
ABD, yeah.
I have a good grasp of like what has and hasn't on the women's side, I would say.
You have a list of stuff you want to work on?
Oh, when I was younger, I definitely had like my goal, like my list of like tricks, and like it's kind of changed over the years. But yeah, I used to do that.
I've done that before.
It's
My list
fun.
probably
Well,
looked different than your list. But
especially because like riding cable, there's so many different hits that you can do, and I'm sure it's easy to just like forget them if you don't write them down.
Yeah. All right, I got we got another guest question from your temporary roommate, Rivers Hedrick.
Rivies, what's up?
What's up, Hunter and Megan? I am so excited that Megan is finally on the podcast. I know it's been a long time coming. And Meg, I've got a couple questions for you. Plus, I will say I was just recording this and then you interrupted me with a FaceTime call. So here is take number 57. So my first question, I'm curious to know, as a bit of a filmer myself, what are some things that a filmer or a photographer can do, whether it's during a shoot or filming for a video part, just to make things easier on your end as a writer? And then it's definitely safe to say that you have been the leading lady in Wake for the past 10 or so years. And you have really just pushed the limits, style-wise, contest-wise, video parts, you've done it all. And I'm curious to know, what are some things that you are looking to see from the next generation of women in this industry? And that is all for me. I hope those are some decent questions, and I hope you guys are enjoying the conversation. I know Meg has got lots of good insight and tons of good stories as well, and I'm obviously super excited to listen to this as soon as it comes out. So, see y'all later. Bye.
So excited.
She's so funny. Oh my gosh.
She said it did take, she was 30 tries, I think,
Take
for that
57.
one. So.
I did interrupt her though, and she
It was awfully inconsiderate of you to do
sorry. Oh gosh. Okay. So I've worked with so many people, and I've been really fortunate. Yeah, with so many talented individuals over the years. And
photog.
what?
I was just filmer photographer. That makes things easier for you to write.
Oh, for sure. I would say when a filmer and photographer knows the sport and they know their angles, what spot that they should be in for certain tricks, that makes a huge difference. Also, the vibes. The vibes are everything when it comes to working with people. I mean, I've only worked with Rodrigo a few times, but his famous whistle, I mean, when he hypes you up after that, I mean, it's a confidence boost. I've worked with, I love working with T-Sode. He's so fun. He's one of my, probably the longest photographer I've worked with. Garrett is amazing as well. I love filming with Cole. He just has such a fun vibe to him and just, gets so hyped. And that energy can, really make a session that much better.
Yeah. Vibes. Don't underestimate the vibes. The vibes are huge.
Never.
And what are some things you're looking to see from the next generation? Besides NBDs, because we want to see some NBDs.
I think Rivers is doing such a great job at this already, but really trying to figure your style out at a young age. I mean, it's not an easy thing to do because style comes with time and it's also very personal. So really trying to work on that early on, I feel helps you become more influential in the future. And then also, I would say trying to give back early on in the sport. And yeah, Rivers is doing a great job at that. Really trying to diversify yourself early on because, yeah, I feel it makes a big difference for the longevity of your career as well. To just give back to what has been given to you.
Yeah. Wakeboarding doesn't owe you anything. So just that's interesting. And I feel like giving back in a different way, Rivers is giving back in a different way than you would, and you would give back in a different way than somebody else would. You just kind of do what?
The circle of life.
Yeah. The circle of
life.
100%. Okay. So I was talking to Garrett Cortez and we were going back and forth about a cover that never happened. So I'm sure you're familiar with this story, and you've gotten a cover with Copycats Club, which is awesome. I'll put the photo of that in, but this was with Wakeboarding Magazine right before it basically became defunct. And I kind of want to hear your experience with that because this is a fascinating story.
Yeah, it's definitely a story. I would say that's a part of my history in the sport. So in 2017, it was a huge goal of mine to get a cover of a magazine. I mean, at the time, getting a cover was everything. And at this point, didn't have a cover yet, so I had it on my goals for the year. And I was working with Red Bull, and they're like, okay, where can we do a cover that will be interesting and unique and not just in Orlando in your backyard? And I brought up doing it in Chicago, where I'm from, with the Chicago skyline in the background. So Red Bull, I believe, funded that whole trip, and we were torn between Alliance and Wakeboarding Magazine, and I think we ended up going with Wakeboarding Magazine because they were going to ensure that the cover was going to happen, whereas Alliance was like, well, if it is a good shot, then it will happen.
Which I do respect that too. I mean, I'd imagine you would as well. It's like,
for sure.
But if you're going to put all this money and time and effort into it, it's like, damn.
But at the same time too, like, I had confidence in myself and like the tricks I can do for a camera, and I knew that I would be able to get a good shot, especially with that sort of backdrop. So that's why we ended up going the Wakeboarding Magazine route. So yeah, we did the shoot. It was epic. We got so many great photos. Ryan Taylor was the photographer on that shoot. And so January of 2018 rolls around, and I want to say like my cover was supposed to be released in like a week or two. I mean, I was getting really excited for it. And one night I get a call from Garrett, and he pretty much told me that the plug got pulled on Wakeboarding Magazine, and they're not doing print anymore, and my cover isn't going into print. And that was a very big, like, heartbreaking moment for me, because this was a huge dream of mine, and then it felt like it got crushed. And then it ended up being, like, their first online cover-up issue, but it didn't have the same.
It's not.
Like, I couldn't hold that in my hands and be like, look, everybody, like, my cover, like, I'm holding this, and I can flip through and, like, read the story and whatnot. So then, yeah, that was tough, but I ended up getting a cover with Copycats Club, and that was really exciting for me because Sina, I mean, she's just poured her heart, her soul, her creativity into the magazine, and she's just done so much and has given back to women's wakeboarding, and it was an honor to have my first physical cover on her magazine.
Yeah.
So shout out Sina.
Was that the first mag, or was that, because I don't know, there's been like
no, it was actually the latest issue.
Because I guess we're looking at them right now. We got Jamie, you.
Jamie was Anna was the first. Jamie was the second. I want to say Huge was either.
Is that Huge? That's right side up that we're looking at. Okay. Anyways, yeah. There's a lot. I feel like there's a lot of moving parts there, because Garrett was probably also going through an incredibly hard time, because like that's his job.
I know.
So not only is he not fulfilling on this like dream of your cover, he's also dealing with like
losing a job.
No, this is ending. Like,
yeah.
Wakeboarding Magazine's ending.
Especially for him too, because he is just such a great guy, and he's given so much to the sport. So I'm sure for him that felt like it was an era ending.
Yeah.
And for me at the time, I mean, I'm like, I'm not getting my cover. But for him, I mean, just like years and years of work, and then now it's ending, like the end of print.
Yeah.
So I'm sure that was so tough. And I know that phone call that he had to do was not easy for him. So
a whole lot of tough times there. I didn't know you guys did the shoot. I just briefly talked to Garrett, and he mentioned it, but that's...
Yeah, I have to send you the photos from that.
Garrett did send me them.
Oh, he did?
Yeah, he did.
Legend.
I'm pretty sure, yeah. He's amazing with all that stuff. He has, like, I swear, I mean, all these magazines are from him, but he just whips out an archive. Like, every issue of Alliance is here from him, which is crazy.
Oh my gosh, I didn't even see that.
Yeah.
That's insane.
And yeah, he's great. We got a Patreon question from the Crust Agency, and they're wondering, Meagan, would you rather land a groundbreaking new trick in front of thousands at a high-stakes competition, or spend a perfect day filming a video part on a secluded lake with the crew of your choosing?
Oh, That's a hard one. I would probably prefer, instead of a day of filming, being able to have unlimited time to film a part.
Yeah.
And drop something that is going to have like a lasting impact. But also landing in a big MBD in a with a huge crowd is really cool. I don't know. That's a hard choice.
Let's talk about parts actually. So like you mentioned it there, you'd love to film a part. Is that in your plans? Because like Guenther, I feel like regularly films parts, like maybe not every single year, but for years and years and years, he's come out with either Red Bull parts or like formats or whatever.
Yes.
Is that something that like you're thinking about?
I mean, yes, it's always something that I'm thinking about. Just having like the time to do it is so tough. I've been injured. Like last year, I had like my meniscus scoped, so I was kind of out last winter. And I feel like the only time I can really film is in the off season because the summer is just so busy. And it's like filming a part is hard. It is some hard work. I mean, you want to put out clips that people haven't seen of you before, of like new grabs, new tricks, and that takes time. I feel like competing in an event is easier, or like potentially landing an MBD might be an easier task, because when you're riding in a part or you're filming for a part, you want to have multiple MBD tricks for yourself.
Yeah.
So
and it's also when you put out a part, it's like, here, wakeboard world, everybody go judge it. Like, what do you think?
Yeah.
And yeah.
I mean, that would be a dream of mine, to like have the time to do it, for sure.
Are you sitting on any clips right now? What's the deal? You sitting on some clips? You sitting on anything? Guenther, I'm sure, is sitting on something. Has to be.
I might be.
Oh, might be.
But
okay.
It's just it's been like so spread out that I'm like, should I just start over?
See, the thing I think with people, they overthink the part. They're like, oh, I filmed this on a board like 2 years ago. Well, if the trick's a good trick,
yeah,
we're good. You know, it doesn't matter if the board's 2 years old, I think.
I have like 3 different hair colors happening in these.
That's vibe. I don't know. I don't think it's a big deal, to be honest, but
okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
All right. We got another. We'll go back-to-back Patreon questions.
Okay.
We got last one from Dan Jarrett. He wants to thank you and Guenther for rolling through West Rock all the times that you guys have. But he's wondering, considering the lack of competitive support from the industry for the women's side of boat riding, what avenue do you think you guys should take to grow the sport of women's riding? Do you think you need to be trying more tricks, new doubles, all that stuff? Or is it more important to make the sport look good and appealing to the crowd to actually help grow it? So we kind of touched on it earlier, but
I'm not going to lie, that's like a hard question. That's a loaded question.
It's basically like KGB5 or like do let it rip events. It's kind of like where I'm.
I mean, making it appealing. Would you consider that like giving back in clinics?
Or you mean like grab front 3?
Yes.
Or like grab front, like.
I mean, I think progression and growing the sport are 2 different things. But I think they coincide with each other.
I was about to say, I think, yeah.
Kind of like we talked about with Pro Tour, like having the ladies on, like, really does help expose that to other females and showing them that that's something that they can do. Whereas I think when people see the women pushing the sport, it overall grows the sport. And we also don't want to stay complacent and be stagnant. We want to keep moving it forward, which ultimately I think will help grow it. But I also think making the sport look good and stylish is equally as important.
Yeah, I don't think it's an either-or situation. I think it's like a big puzzle and like...
It's situational to each rider and what they're doing.
Yeah.
What they're like currently capable of.
Yeah, like Zara going to land like a bunch of tricks behind the boat that are going to go viral on Instagram.
Like that's growing the sport.
It. Yeah.
That's exposing it to so many people, and she's done a really good job of bringing millions of eyes to wakeboarding.
Yeah.
So, but then I also think, yeah, making wakeboarding look good and giving back, like those are also equally as important. I mean, it's multiple things.
Yeah, I don't think it's an either or. It's just it's an all-encompassing thing. You want to do it all because different people
Definitely.
react to different things. I'm curious, what do you think about the Instagram reel formula of like what a lot of boat wakeboarders do, guys and girls? Like, what do you think
Yeah.
about, like, because obviously it works on social media,
It
right?
works. Oh gosh, that's a tough one. Personally, I don't like to do that with what I'm doing because I feel like I'm doing so many different things that if I were to post like kind of like similar boat clips back to back, it just wouldn't fit like the overall vibe that I'm going for. Whereas I really like to hone into just like the core wakeboarding aspect and just show like good wakeboarding clips. Not saying that like anybody else is not doing that.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? I'm just saying personally, I just love to show like the variety of being on the water, not even if that's not wakeboarding, like foiling and just all the fun stuff that I get to do. So I like to show just like how versatile our sport really is.
Yeah. And I think that's, again, another like all-encompassing thing. You have people do this, people do that. Like, it's just, you need people to do all the different things. It's not like everybody has to go fit in this one box, and that's where everybody in wakeboarding needs to do.
I mean,
It's
it
like,
wouldn't work. Everybody has a place in our sport, and collectively, it works. It helps grow it, and yeah, we don't all need to be doing the same thing.
yeah. If we were, it definitely
It'd
wouldn't work. It'd be
boring.
boring. It'd be super boring.
Yeah.
We got a last guest question from Mahallia. But
What's up, Hunter? What's up, Megan? Love this pod and love that you're a guest. 2 questions. First and foremost, when are you coming out to snowboard with me in Tahoe? Driving home from the mountain now and would love to see you again soon. Second, so I was just chatting with Sina yesterday about print magazines, copycats, branding, design, all the things. There was a time when being on the cover of an industry-leading magazine was one of the most sought-after accolades you could receive as an athlete in this industry. How did it feel to receive your first cover? And how did it feel to have another cover on the first print magazine dedicated solely to all the incredible, badass women in this sport? Love you. Please give Smokey all the kisses from me. Mwah. Ciao.
She is, I love her. She's so sweet.
I mean, we did kind of touch on that,
Yeah.
but yeah, when are you going to snowboard with her? Callie.
I don't know. I still need to link up with Don as
He's
well.
out there. He's out there.
Yeah, so I've talked to him about that as well, and I would love to get out to Cali. I've never snowboarded there before, so that would be sick.
That, and then, yeah, I mean, you touched on
Yeah.
copycats, but I feel like you can dive a little bit more into that. Like, who shot it? What was the trick? Like, how did it feel
For
to
sure.
get that? Was it a surprise? Like, what's everything
Yeah,
behind
I
it?
guess I didn't really tell the story on that cover, so it was, let's see, I think it was 2 years ago around this time. I was out shooting with Jeff Mathis, and every time before Cena would release a new magazine, she would message all the girls in the sport and say, hey, I am planning on doing another magazine. Just want to let you know if you want to try to like send in photos or do a story or like content or anything for it, really,
Yeah.
which I always really appreciated her efforts in that way. So I tried to always get shots for every one of the Copycats magazines. So I went out with Jeff Mathis, and I had like a specific trick in mind and how I wanted to shoot it. And yeah, he was behind me riding. I think he had, I don't know what lens he had on, but I really just wanted like an overturned, like really poked.
Look at the front leg on that. That's full
Like
extension.
it might be like over, like negative. degrees.
Well, that's the
because it's
ACL
like-
surgery I worked at. You
yeah.
can go double jointed on that unit.
I mean, also shout out to the Vita bindings. I mean, look at that flexion on there.
True.
That's why I love them so much, because I can, like, my foot's really formed to them, but I still have the ability to, like, move my legs.
Tweak,
and
poke,
yes.
yeah.
So, yeah, really wanted to get that overturned tail grab, and we got it. And so Jeff sent the photos to Cena, and then she called me one day and was like, hey, we love this photo, and we're going to put on the cover. And I was so excited because, I mean, it just felt like a really awesome opportunity, and the fact that Cena even considered me, that just meant a lot. And yeah, to be on the cover of Copycats, I mean, yeah, pretty surreal moment. And that was like a huge highlight for me for a while, getting that cover.
Yeah.
I was so fired up. And yeah, Cena, she's done so much, like I said before. And I mean, every single one of those covers up there, it's just like beautiful. And
They're all solid picks.
Yes.
For sure.
And just all the graphics on them too.
Yeah, she killed it with that.
So
no
thank
doubt.
you, Cena, again for that opportunity.
Yeah, absolutely. I got a last Patreon question from Bill Porter, and he's wondering what is important to sponsors these days, in your opinion.
Oh.
Out of left field there.
Oh gosh. Yeah, that's a very like vague question, I would say, but a lot's important these days. It's not just about solely wakeboarding anymore, in my opinion. I think the first step to sponsors is having a good relationship with them, constantly updating them on what's happening, being really proactive when you're like being on top of your emails, and really just trying to be involved with what's happening, showing that you're going to work hard, you're going to make an effort. I really think that goes a long way. Another thing I think that is important is obviously your wakeboarding and how you're doing and how you're competing as well. If you're, pushing the sport, that plays a role. Social media also, and especially in the newer age, I would say is huge. Especially if you are wanting to get sponsored by companies that are outside of wakeboarding. They're not looking at, I don't know, they're probably not looking at like all the contests you've won. They probably want to know how you can be a great content creator for them. So I think that also plays a big role in driving like views to the sport as well.
And I feel like a lot of people say that, like you said that, people have said in the past, and people just like brush it off of like, oh, it's just social media. But like, dude, that's what it is now. Like, love it or hate it, it doesn't matter how you feel about it. That's reality.
It is. And on social media, I mean, it's like our new age video, like seeing videos online.
Yeah, it's where media is consumed.
Exactly. And seeing photos and all of that. And at the end of the day, as an athlete, we're a brand. And showing your brand on social media plays a huge role as to like how you're perceived by companies. So, yeah, I mean, if you care about your brand, then you need to care about your social media as well.
Because that's like how your brand is received and how people see it. So
I agree.
It's love it or hate it. Like I said, it doesn't matter. It's important.
Yeah.
No matter how you feel about it.
I agree.
Have you ever said no to like brands? I mean, obviously you probably have, but like brands message you and they're like, hey, this, that, or the other. Like, I guess, do brands reach out a lot of like, hey, we want to do a collab post. We'll give you this, that, or the other. And like, how do you approach that?
Yes. I've had a lot of like smaller companies reach out and they're like, we'll give you this for like a post. And I'm just like, no, I'm not.
Like product or something?
Yeah, product. Or I've had it before where companies are like, we'll give you 20% off our product if you post. And I'm like,
oh, 20% off. Sweet. Thanks.
Like, no, thank you. But no, I mean, It doesn't happen like as frequently. I think if I really want to work with a company, I need to be like proactive about reaching out and starting that relationship with them. Yeah.
Would you say you're selective or picky when it comes to like picking brands that you're gonna like work with? And like what do you look for in a brand to be like, yeah, I want to represent you? I like, because I'm looking at your board right now. Mm-hmm. Red Bull, MasterCraft, Go Macro, Nomadics, and obviously Performance and Copycats. And Liquid Force on the board, obviously. So yeah, like Go Macro, Nomadics. Like why them, I guess?
Yeah, when I'm trying to choose a brand that I want to work with, I really want to make sure it aligns with my values and what I'm comfortable promoting. So, Go Macro, I really love living a healthy lifestyle. That's just who I am. I mean, you've probably seen me post my food on my story, and being healthy is really important to me. And with all the traveling that I do, it really just makes sense for me. And I love their products, so that helps. Same with Nomadics. I mean, I need a towel pretty much with everything that I'm doing. Yeah. And I love their product. I also love, like, it's made out of recycled materials as well. So they're trying to help the environment, and they dry really fast too. And I just try to pick companies that I feel like work with me and my brand and that I want to post about. Yeah.
They get you excited.
Yeah.
Yeah. I feel like that's a simple approach, but like a good one to have. Yeah. Whereas you could have the approach of like, well, are you going to pay me? Yeah. Okay, cool.
Yeah. I mean, getting paid is like a non-negotiable for me, where, if they can't pay, then it's just probably not going to work out for right now until we can make something work. And I mean, that's kind of what happened with Nomadics. They couldn't pay me at first, and then because they were a smaller company, and then they grew, and I was their first ambassador ever on their program. And I think they only have like a very small amount, but it's like a very small, like, niche group of people, and they're able to support me, and I support them as well. So, and it works.
That's interesting that you said that, because I feel like some riders maybe would be like, well, if you can't pay me, sorry, we're fine. And then the relationship is like done. It's like, we're cutting off, like, you can't pay me, blah, blah, blah. But like, companies do grow. And when they do grow, if you keep a good relationship with them and you believe in the product, it's like, oh, let's talk in 6 months. Let's talk in a year. Like, cause I do love what you're doing, but I have a mortgage and like, I have to pay bills.
And I can't promote you for free. It's just how it goes.
Well, then they'd be taking advantage of you.
Exactly.
Like, you have a worth.
But yeah, I mean, I totally agree that starting those relationships and following up, I mean, that goes a really long way. Or even when you're ending relationships, trying to end on a good note. You just never know, like, what future opportunities might come your way, and you never really want to, like, burn a bridge as well. Yeah. So, especially, I mean, our industry is so small at the end of the day, and the amount of people that I've seen, like, bounce around brands working for all the different companies, I mean, it's just how it goes.
Yeah, I was literally going to say that same thing. So it's, be professional and keep good relationships.
Exactly.
It'll work out. So, all right. I mean, I don't have a ton left. I want to talk about this season coming up, though. So what are your kind of plans for this season? You mentioned you're getting back on the board, cable riding, going to get back into boat, like contests you're looking forward to. What's 2025 looking like?
2025. I mean, 2024 was kind of a heater for me. And I've been doing this for a long time. So it's like, what am I going to do this year? How am I going to try to one up what I did last year? We are doing a project here soon that I'm sure you all will see more of. And also, I'm going to try to compete in as many events as I can and just try to keep it going, try to give back, grow the sport, try to get more ladies involved. I mean, the letter rip events are some of my favorite ones to do throughout the year. And yeah, that's definitely like the most like gratifying stuff for me to do throughout the season. So yeah, just keep trying to grow this thing.
I love it.
Yeah.
Easy. All right. I mean, that's all. I think that's all I got. Is there anything else you want to touch on here? Obviously, do some thank yous and shout outs. But.
Yeah, I guess we didn't really like touch too much on my injuries, and I really do feel like
let's talk about it.
Yeah, my injuries, like, they're really a big part of who I am. So I did mention
we didn't even talk about your shoulder at all, right?
No, but I mentioned in 2012 I tore my ACL, and then in 2000, that was the end of 2012. In 2016, I tore my other ACL. In 2016, I was on like this mission of I want to win every single contest of the year.
It's a high bar.
I had won the first 4 of the season, and it was only June, and I was going, I can't remember where the contest was, maybe in Reno. I don't remember, but I had a goal. I was landing heel 7s like really consistently, and I had it in my run, like ready to go at that next contest. And as I was going through like the cove on Jessamine, I did a mill-in heel 3 and overshot the wake, and my knee just like buckled in, and it was just horrible. It definitely was like a worse experience than my first time. And I still have PTSD from that fall. That sounds so dramatic, but like I think about that a lot. And I think, it's back to what I was saying earlier about like finding that balance of like wanting to keep progressing the sport. But I've had like so many injuries that it's hard to find that line of like, okay, how much do I push this? Is it worth it to try this? Because what if I get injured again?
Yeah.
And then also my shoulder, I tore my labrum in, was it 2021? I think, I don't know. I was trying 3-to-1s at OWC because I really wanted to do that on the boat.
Sick trick on the boat.
Yes. And I was like going into the XL wrapped, and I had a few really good attempts, but I just like rotated off the kicker, and my shoulder like did the weirdest thing. It was weird. Like it wasn't a feeling that I had felt before, but it just went out and like came back in real quick, and I'm like, what did I do? And yeah, I got a MRI and I tore my labrum, but it was so much different than when I tore my ACLs, because when I tore my ACLs, it was like, okay, you're done. Season's over, no wakeboarding. But I still wakeboarded with my shoulder torn for like another, I think like 2 years. What year did I tear? I don't even know.
Because you didn't know that you tore it?
No, I did.
Oh, you did?
I just rode with it torn. And there were a few times where like it dislocated on me. It would like go out and go in. I was at West Rock one time when that happened. I was like, I think I was doing a back 3 into like the bank, and I just caught and like threw my arm up like this, and it just, yeah, it would like sublux is what it's called when it just like pops out and pops back in. So that would happen a lot, and I wore my shoulder brace for a long time. And then I was like, okay, I'm just gonna get surgery on this. So leading up to it, I just like stacked content, stacked photos, but I was still riding really good. So that was really like a tough decision to decide to get surgery, but I don't regret it at all because my shoulder has been like so strong since I've had the surgery.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's good.
But yeah, I mean, injuries are tough, and it's a part of being an action sports athlete, but I do feel like the timing of my injuries have been perfectly spaced out in my career.
I mean, I'm looking at it. Yeah. 4 years, 5 years, like in between both.
But it's given me like a break in between to really miss it.
So 2021 was your labrum.
I think so.
Megan, if we're doing the math.
I think so.
I'm not going to say it, but.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I know what you're saying, but I'm feeling good.
That's not happening. I didn't say
not
that.
happening.
That's not happening. You just, yeah. So that's an interesting point because I feel like injuries for athletes, at least a lot of people I've talked to here, it's a down moment. It's not good. Like you're forced off the board.
Yeah.
You're forced to not do what
It's not
you're
ideal.
getting paid to do. You're just forced to not do what you love. And it's like,
Yeah.
it's got to be hard to have the mindset of, no, this could be a good thing. This could be a good thing.
Well, I think in retrospect, that was my mindset, but in the moment, it was really tough.
Yeah.
And I really struggled, especially with my second ACL. That was like hard on me for sure. But yeah, no, I'm really fortunate that I like got through all of them and I came back stronger. And it hasn't like put too much of like a dent on my career either.
Yeah, because I mean, with some people's knee injuries, it's never the same. You know, they'll come back, but it's not the same.
Or some riders have like torn their ACLs back to back, and then you like see their career ending. Like they lose sponsors, and that's really tough to see.
Yeah. Have you ever been worried about that on any of those injuries with any of your sponsors? Have you ever been? I guess you got signed by Red Bull the first time you were injured, so maybe it's the opposite effect. But like,
I don't think so because it's not like I was ever slacking off before getting injured.
Yeah.
I've really tried to like work hard every year. So, no. And while I'm injured, it's not like I'm just sitting around. I'm still trying to like.
There's a lot you can do.
Yeah, there like you can be so active while being injured, not physically, but like active in the sport and with staying present and still having like your name out there.
Do you ever get sick of wakeboarding?
Yeah, I mean, I feel like that's a fair answer because I've been doing it for 20 years. I've been wakeboarding. Yeah, that's a long time. I get burnt out from time to time, which, you know, it happens with anything that you do, your job, like you're going to get burnt out. It's just taking like appropriate breaks to recharge, refuel, get re-inspired. You know, I love surfing and foiling and snowboarding, and I really try to do some of the other sports that I'm passionate about and climbing, and just that always gets me stoked. And taking those breaks, I think they're really important.
Yeah, preventative maintenance. It's like an oil change in your car.
Exactly. It's needed. And for the mind, too.
Yeah.
Not just the body, but the mind.
I agree with that. Definitely.
Yeah, but.
Yeah, I mean, that was good to touch on the injuries. I totally forgot about the shoulder one. That one kind of like slipped the radar.
Yeah, I've had 5 surgeries at this point. Because I had like 2 meniscus scopes as well. But I'm like, please.
Do they put you down for the scope?
Yes.
Oh, so you've been put down 5 times.
Yes.
How long do they count to 10 when they put you down? With
I don't know. I think so.
When I got my wisdom teeth out, they counted to 10. I made it to like 1.5. I was out. I did not like it.
Out like a light.
Yep.
I think so, yeah.
Yeah, that's good. All right. I mean, yeah, is there anything else you want to touch on? Obviously, some thanks, but.
Oh, gosh. I don't think so. I mean, I've had such a great career, and I'm just so grateful for it all. I don't think so.
All right. I mean, if so, we'll get you on Shop Talk. Probably you and Guenther. That'd be good.
Or like an all ladies shop.
Well,
talk.
I was talking with Sienna about that, and now that Jamie's like, she was ripping the other day.
Talk about that.
Out of nowhere. I was like,
is that a comeback?
I was like, is that J-Lo? Like in the wake pants, like all black kit, and I was like, that has to be. And it was.
I know. I'm so hyped for her. Yeah. She's definitely like one of my like favorite riding buddies. We do a lot of wakeboarding together, and I mean, we pretty much like grew up in the sport together. So she's one of my favorites for sure.
She's a ripper. Yeah, I'm stoked that she's back riding, and she didn't look like she missed a whole lot. At least I don't know how much she's been riding, but I was watching her in person. Look good.
I mean, just had a baby and back into it. I mean, that's mad respect.
Yeah. Yeah, all ladies. We'll definitely do an all ladies one. We'll get Sienna down here, you, Jamie. We'll get maybe Rivers in here too. That'd be fun.
Oh my gosh, that'd be so fun.
Yeah. Anybody else you want to thank or?
Yes. So.
We got a sheet.
Yeah.
Sheet's coming out.
I prepared a little something because I just. Yeah, I'll just run it.
Just run it.
Yeah. No. First of all, I just wanted to express my deepest gratitude to everyone who has played a role in my wakeboarding journey. Even though this is an individual sport, it really takes a team to make dreams come true, and it truly would not be possible without the people. I want to thank everyone who also took the time to listen today. It means the world to me that you even cared to hear my story. Thank you to my sponsors, Performance, Liquid Force, Red Bull, MasterCraft, Nomadics, and Go Macro. I mean, without their support, it would not be possible. It wouldn't. My husband, Guenther, who has pretty much been on this journey with me since the beginning, his support, I mean, it's unmeasurable, just like the teamwork that's gone into everything. So yeah, thank you, Guenther, for motivating me, pushing me, and being the best shred buddy I could ever ask for. And also, huge thank you to all the Patreon members for making this podcast possible.
Hey, there we go.
Yeah. Hunter, thank you for taking a chance and starting Grab Matters and creating a space for so many voices in our sport to be heard. It is really incredible what you're doing. And personally, I have loved hearing and learning about all the people that make the sport what it is. And lastly, and finally, thank you to wakeboarding itself. What a sport.
Damn, mic drop on the end there. I like that. I don't think anybody's thanked wakeboarding besides you. I think you're the first one.
Really?
That's sick. Yeah.
I mean, we all wouldn't be doing what we're doing right now without it.
That's true. Very much so. Yeah. Thank you for the kind words as well. That was.
You're welcome.
Yeah, very appreciative. Very thankful.
This was a lot of fun, and I think I definitely was overthinking it.
Yeah, I think you were too. Yeah, absolutely. So that's a note to everybody else that eventually, if you do come in, yeah, it's
don't
chill.
Overthink it. It'll be fine.
Hanging out. It's totally chill. Yeah. So yeah, thanks for coming on. That was awesome. I had a blast. Yeah. Thanks everybody for tuning in, and thanks for everybody who supports wakeboarding in whatever facet you do. That was a good point you made, and thank you to wakeboarding as well. So yeah, thanks for tuning in, and we'll see you guys next time.